us out there. We've got a ton of fun stuff coming up. We're going to talk about the Tigers pitching rotation to start the 10 o'clock hour because all the Tigers pitching stuff has been bad. It's been about Tarek Skubal off the field stuff. I want to talk about the good things. I think it's a really good unit, and I want to kind of compare it to the other units in the American League. We have a really fun segment coming up to end the show today. The Freeland Falcons, locally here in the Great Lakes Bay region, boys basketball team is headed to the Breslin Center. So we're going to bring on the coach, maybe a couple of players as well to end the show. That's going to be fun. John's going to catch up with them because he's been doing a great job covering them all playoffs long, and we're going to talk about them going to the Breslin Center. So that's going to be pretty cool. But I want to kick things off. Where else was I going to go? We're going to talk about Brad Holmes right now, and I want to do it in a little bit of a different way than we typically do. Most of the Brad Holmes talk is a bit doom and gloomy, which is, I mean, it's not expected, but it certainly is something that Lions fans have shifted to. And that's kind of what I want to touch on today is I almost want to defend Brad Holmes, but can I? Am I allowed to defend Brad Holmes? Everything that has happened so far in this offseason, at least from the Lions fans' perspective, has been a question mark. Like, what is Brad Holmes doing? They clear up $32 million in cap space yesterday with the Jared Goff contract restructure. And what do they do with it in 24 hours? Zilch. Nada. Nothing. No moves made yesterday from the Lions as far as adding guys. Josh Paschal gets released because the official league renewal happened at 4 p.m., so that was made official. The David Montgomery move is made official. No news has happened since yesterday's show, which I didn't really expect. I figure when you clear up that amount of cap, then a move is coming. Now, not a lot of moves happen across the NFL, so it's not like we can sit here and say, well, everyone else is doing this. The guy that I'm pleading for in Rasheed Walker of the Green Bay Packers, the left tackle who's a free agent, is still out there. Nobody signed him yet, so I'm not going to sit here and say, well, Brad Holmes, he lost the guy that I wanted. And I'm also not just going to reiterate that I want them to go sign that guy. I already did that yesterday. I want to talk about, are you allowed to defend Brad Holmes anymore? Because let's go down the Brad Holmes history timeline. He comes to Detroit and immediately makes, one of the bigger trades we've seen in the NFL history over the last decade, maybe in all of the 21st century, as far as impacting a couple of franchises. Matt Stafford to the LA Rams for Jared Goff plus 2 first-round picks and a third. Of course, the Rams win a Super Bowl the first year. Matt Stafford won an MVP last year. He's been awesome with the Rams. But that trade, the picks essentially turned into Jamison Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Josh Paschal, Ife Melifonwu, and Broderick Martin. I know there was a couple trade-ups there. The Jamison Williams was used for a trade-up. Jahmyr Gibbs was traded down. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. You get the point. Here's my thing. The first draft in 2021, let's go through those first 3 drafts of Brad Holmes. He drafts Penei Sewell in the first round, Ali McNeil in the third round, Amon-Ra St. Brown in the fourth, Derek Barnes in the fourth. Unreal stuff. 2022, he gets Aiden Hutchinson, Jamison Williams in the first round, Kirby Joseph in the third round. 3 amazing players for Detroit. 2023 is the one. It's the one that everyone talks about. 4 players in the first 2 rounds, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. It doesn't get much better than that in NFL history as far as first 4 guys taken in the draft. It's pretty ridiculous. And then in 2024, it falls apart. Terry and Arnold in the first round. Still a question mark on him. I'm not going to rule him out from being a potential impact player for Detroit for the rest of his career, but I wouldn't say a lot of people are feeling the opposite, are feeling that he absolutely is a lockdown corner going forward for the Lions. I mean, this team hasn't had a lockdown corner since Darius Slay. It's actually unreal. Ennis Rakestraw in the second round. Who knows if that guy will ever suit up for the Lions. Giovanni Manu, Ben's favorite guy. I don't want to talk about him because you already hear him enough when Ben's doing the show. Sione Vaki in the fourth round as well. Christian Mahogany could end up being the most impactful player out of this entire draft, and he was taken in the 6th round in 2024. Like, that's pretty unheard of. And that's not necessarily a good thing either. Like, Mahogany is battling to be the left guard next year. 2025 still up for a question mark. Tyreek Williams, Tate Ratledge, Isaac Tesla, Miles Frazier, blah, blah, blah. Where I'm going here is that in his first 3 drafts with the Lions, he drafted 5 all-pro players in 3 drafts. And that doesn't even include Gibbs, Laporta, or Branch, who all 3 have yet to make an all-pro appearance. have been Pro Bowlers, but I know Pro Bowlers, we're not really counting those anymore, right? After Shadur Sanders got one, I don't think we're counting those. 5 All-Pro players with 3 guys that absolutely have All-Pro potential. I could almost lock up Jahmyr Gibbs to be an All-Pro player at some point in his career. Brian Branch with the Achilles injury, I don't know. I don't want to lock it up by any means. And Laporta, he might not ever make an All-Pro just because the tight end position is so premium. But we all know he's a top 10, maybe top 5 tight end in the league when he's healthy. Not healthy currently. But that's exactly where I'm going with this, is there was so much good early that it almost became a standard for Brad Holmes. Like, it has to be like this because this is how good he is. He has to draft this well year in, year out because of how good he did the first 3 years. And then in 24 and 25, it just obviously hasn't been the same, which is super difficult to do. And so now, in the current day, 2026, 3 days into NFL free agency, the Lions have no urgency to make any moves. And it's all led by Brad Holmes. And we threw out a post on our Facebook yesterday asking just about your opinion on Brad Holmes, and it's like 90% negative. I don't think 90% of it wants him gone, but clearly the tides have shifted on this guy as far as how the Lions fans view him. And I'm just wondering, is it too soon to do that? Because yes, I just named off all the amazing things that he did in his first 3 years. It still hasn't accomplished anything. It still hasn't gotten the Lions to being potentially a Super Bowl winner. Now, the Lions have never won a Super Bowl in their history, so it's very difficult to do that for anyone that's been involved. And I think everyone would still take Brad Holmes over the couple of previous regimes that were in Detroit. Like, no doubt about that. But also, the expectations do have to change once good things start to happen. And I think that is what has happened with Brad Holmes and Detroit. Paying your own players at a premium is starting to come back to bite Brad Holmes and the Lions. The Lee McNeil contract, Ben and I have talked about it. It has the potential to be one of the tougher contracts on this team and maybe in the league if he doesn't continue to get back to that level he was at pre-injury 2 seasons ago. Of course, the Kirby Joseph contract is one that I don't want to say it could come back to bite him because Kirby Joseph is so good when he plays. But is he going to play? And so that has a chance to be a really tough contract. They've cleared up this money, and you think they're going to use it to add guys. And right now it seems like maybe they're just going to use it to shift around the rest of their money so they can pay the guys that still need to be paid, which I don't love. There's just a major lack of urgency to improve this failed roster from a season ago. So I want to defend Holmes. I want to be the guy that's hand up like, hey, Lions fans, I understand right now it doesn't look awesome. With everything that's happened this offseason, is the team better right now than it was at the end of 2025? I honestly don't think so, and that team didn't make the playoffs. So that's, of course, concerning. But I want to be the guy that's like, can anyone fix this? Look at the amount of holes this team has. They have 2 edge rushers on their team right now. And one of them is Aiden Hutchinson. The other one is the guy who was taken at the end of the draft last year that missed the whole year, Ahmed Hassanin. Like, there's so many needs that this team has. And I was frustrated yesterday when they made no moves. I assume most Lions fans were as well. But then I sit here and I'm like, I can't be that upset with Brad Holmes for building what he has here in Detroit. Or should I be? Has the expectation shifted? Has the mindset of the fan base shifted now that there was a couple of years of success? I talk about this with John, who's a New York Giants fan, and this isn't even to call out John, but like, would you like to have Brad Holmes as your GM in New York?
1,000%.
It's a conversation that I think is worth having with a lot of fan bases across the NFL, right? Like, would you, it's not even the changing situations. It's just the constant negativity that Lions fans have been throwing at Brad Holmes. I'm not saying it's unwarranted, but I think it's easy to forget about what the success he's had so far and the positive things that he's done for this team.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just breaking down drafts too, he along with Howie Roseman in Philly would probably be 1A and 1B in terms of the best drafters among general managers in the last 5 years in the NFL. Because just think of the Lions core, and you went through it, so you don't have to think about it. You can just remember. It's all Holmes bringing it in and winning drafts, not just winning a first round, winning whole drafts. And I told you yesterday off air, the Giants haven't had a 3-round, draft, forget 7 rounds or multiple picks in a draft, just like a first, second, and third round that's been consistent and, like, all those are winners in, like, 20 years.
Right.
Lions have had that, 2 of the last 3? So, yeah, he's a great drafter. The thing that I always return to is that there is an arrogance with Holmes in terms of, all right, building it my way. No, we don't need a guy at the deadline. We're going to bring in guys that only fit, the quote-unquote Lions culture. And I think, and we're going to get into this, just too strong-holding of the guys that you have in-house, which I love in all facets of life. Hey, promoting from within. But last year was point-blank an example of, like, okay, this position loses a player. Promote within. And it just not being enough. It almost happened at every position group. Like, and that's not exaggeration.
Totally.
I mean, just based on how many injuries there were for the Lions. So, it's not enough. Go target in free agency if you're not going to make moves at the deadline. And it's been 2 deadlines in a row where the Lions have not made the best moves. They've made moves, but it hasn't been the move that would be, a touchdown, to use the metaphor there. Be aggressive in free agency. You restructured your contract because Jared Goff wants that to be the case, to go get players. What are we waiting for? Are we watching the World Baseball Classic and March Madness? No. Go out and sign what you could sign and build, because you knew last year it wasn't enough, and there's a lot to be filled on this team right now. Do I trust in his process? I think is what everyone's going to come back to. Yes. But you can poke holes in how he operates when at the deadline they need a pass rusher. He doesn't go and get it. All right, no, our secondary is good enough. Obviously wasn't the case during the season, and then the patch hole work of free agency during the season just wasn't really fruitful. So now's the time to prepare for the season. And if you're Brad Holmes, to bring it to like a real life example, you're kind of that person that's fearing that the world's going to end and, okay, stock up on toilet paper and stock up on, like, food that lasts forever.
Doomsday
Even though it's
preppers,
not.
right.
Yeah, like, be a doomsday prepper if you're Brad Holmes as a GM, even though it's like, okay, you're still pretty good, right? It's not like you're, the Giants or the Browns or the Cardinals. But
we do have 2 whole packs of toilet paper at home already.
There you go. Like, yeah, like, you're good, but, like, have that mindset when going into free agency, just because, again, of what has happened. Like, and it's not doom and gloom to be like, oh, you're going to lose this guy due to injury and that. But last year, that just seemed like it kept being the case. So, yeah, I mean, I trust in him. There's definitely things that I don't like in terms of the arrogance at the draft, right? Like, and Ben and I have had this conversation where it's like, oh, his draft philosophy is best player available. He doesn't draft on need. No, he drafts on need. Every NFL general manager drafts on need. What do the Lions need? They know what they need. You know what they need in the YouTube comments listening on our air. They need offensive line to improve. They need a cornerback. Fill in the blanks for the rest of it. Where else can they improve? But those are 2 needs. Go address them.
Yeah, I just think it's right now it's a tough balance of, like, clearly there's a bit of settlement being had with Brad Holmes in this front office as far as we're just going to improve with the guys that were on our team last year. We lose Alex Anzalone. Okay, we're going to fill Derek Barnes or Malcolm Rodriguez into that spot, and we're going to get into that in the next segment. But I just think that the pendulum has shifted a bit too far on Holmes, and I just want to I don't want to be the Lions fan that's like, hey, look what he has done so far. I know, like, I get it. It hasn't won a Super Bowl or anything, but look, he drafted all these good players. But I am doing that because I think that everyone has just become out on Holmes, and I think there's a portion of the fan base that is willing to say, hey, if the Lions have one more year where they don't get this thing done, then are we really looking at this guy as the long-term GM of the Lions? And I'm just like, man, this is the best that the organization has had in a long time. And I understand that with winning comes a shift in expectation. And the Lions went from being a franchise that their expectation was we need to win a damn playoff game for the first time in 30 years. And now it's shifted to we need to get to the Super Bowl for the first time ever. I totally am on par with that. I agree. I'm the same exact way. I do think, though, Brad Holmes is the right guy. I'm not just going to say, let Brad cook, and I would love to see some stuff go down. There's still time in free agency. I know that the player pool left is not as exciting as it was to open up free agency, that's for sure. But there's still guys that can be addressed. I just want everyone to realize what Brad Holmes has done for this team, and then maybe rethink about, okay, maybe I do trust him a little bit more than I did before I went back and thought about all the good things he's done for the Lions. 989-837-6125. Let us know. Let us know your feelings on Brad Holmes. Just overall, what do you think about the guy? We're good, like everyone likes to say. Is that your bit, the thing that you like to ride on, or do you still actually think that he can get this Lions team back to being a Super Bowl contender? 989-837-6125. You can let us know in the YouTube chat as well. I see we got a good amount of chats there. We'll come back with those. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. The 9 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Iron Stack Technology. They help businesses solve real technology problems securely, efficiently, and without the headaches. When your IT is working the way it should, everything else gets easier. Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission-focused. Find them online at ironstacktechnology.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. We're on YouTube and Facebook as well. Let's hop back in to the YouTube chat and check what you guys think about Brad Holmes, because I wanted to know just what's an overall feeling on the guy. I think it's gone a little bit too much south, too much negativity. I think we have to recognize some of the good things that he's done. YouTube chat coming in from Gary. My question regarding Holmes would be, is the Gibbs, Laporta, Campbell draft year a reflection of Holmes' ability, or just a shot-in-the-dark home run? I don't think we can call that a shot-in-the-dark home run. I mean, we just went through this. That top 4 of that draft, throwing Branch to that group. I mean, talk about you. I don't think you could draw up a better 4 guys. To have 4 guys in the same draft to be that good, the first 4 picks, there's no way that's a lucky shot-in-the-dark thing.
No, and it's so funny because the first, I guess month I was here in the state, everyone was like, why would they reach for Jahmyr Gibbs? Like, that was the consensus thought. Like, why did they do that? And then
it was.
Right? Like, why draft a running back? Oh, I think it was a reach for him, this and that. And, yeah, every team would take him.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Now, looking back, if we were to do, like, there's all those podcasts and stuff that do the redraftables, right, and whatever. You're redrafting that draft, and it's amazing how many lines would go in the first round.
Absolutely. I mean, those guys would be... I mean, it's a really good draft overall. Like, there's a lot of good players in that draft, but those guys are all in the first half of the first round. Like, no doubt about it. So, I don't think that can be a shot in the dark. Another chat coming in. Whether or not the Lions win it or not, Holmes has succeeded at changing the narrative of the Lions. Players actually don't dislike coming to Detroit now. They are more relevant now than they have ever been, and that comes from the leadership of Sheila. She needs to be given credit for building the foundation. Yeah, I totally think that's fair. I mean, I think that Sheila has put the right people in place for Detroit. Of course, with Holmes and Campbell being like the faces of all of that. But there's a lot of other people behind the scenes that make things known. I mean, we talked about when Rod Wood left the Lions, it felt like a big deal. Chris Spielman has been a big guy that has been a major contributor to the Lions in the front office. So, yeah, of course it goes to Sheila because especially, like me and Ben always talk about this, Sheila's like one of the first things she did publicly as the Lions' new owner, and just the face of the Lions now after Martha was kind of out of the picture, was when Calvin Johnson was honored for I think it was the Lions Ring of Honor at that game against the Ravens where Justin Tucker hits the game-winning field goal. Ben and I are both at that game, and it was like, everyone was so out on just the Ford ownership group, and Sheila comes out there to announce Calvin Johnson and just gets booed. I mean, by the whole stadium. It's packed. It's early in the year, and the whole place is booing her so hard because it was the first time Calvin Johnson had kind of returned to being part of the Lions. And so that has definitely shifted with Sheila, which I think is pretty good. Joe says, I think a big difference from the beginning and now is that at the beginning, they had emphasis on earning your spot, i.e. Rodrigo on Hard Knocks. Now guys get drafted to sit and do nothing, and now guys get contracts seemingly because Brad drafted them, and they're his guys, such as Barnes and McNeil getting big contracts they really didn't earn. I agree other than that last part. They really didn't earn, I think might be a little bit of a stretch. Like I mean, those guys have been impactful players for the Lions, no doubt about it. But I do agree I think Brad is the stubborn, like John touched on this on the previous segment, a little bit of the stubbornness, like I drafted these guys, they're my guys, a little bit of the Scott Harris mindset, like I'm going to rock with the dudes that I brought into the building because I trust them, which of course you have to have that as a general manager in the NFL. You have to have that as a GM in any sport. Like you have to trust the guys that you put in place. But I do think that he's like, I'm going to pay everybody because I brought them in here. They deserve it. They've been big pieces, and we're not going to bring in other guys to take their spots. And I do think that is absolutely the case because when we named off those last couple of drafts, 25, 24, there are players that absolutely have just been drafted and not done anything. But as far as not done anything, not even had a role to play. They're just like chilling. So I agree. Joe says, I didn't like the wording on it either, but the character limits, LOL. That's a good point. YouTube is limiting for you. Chris says, I'm convinced Lions management is indifferent about winning the Super Bowl. I think their primary goal is to just be good enough to sell out the stadium on a regular basis.
I mean, that's not a problem anymore. The
that's
ticket
never
price
been a problem.
Is like, you guys just watch them regardless. Like, passionate fan. Like, honestly, it's passionate fans. Like, I don't think the NFL has that issue. When we talk about other sports, like, and if that comes into mind, it's like, all right, baseball and contending and whether you're buyers or sellers at the deadline. Basketball just seems to not care. All right, we'll tank. The fans will come back eventually. Who cares if they're in the stands now? And then hockey, different sport. But, yeah, there's only 8 games, right, at home. And what, 7 this year because they're going to play in Germany, or is it 8? Like,
yeah, it's either 7 or 8 this
year,
yeah.
Like, people are going to come, you know. They want to put out a winner, and people would show up on Thanksgiving every year when they suck too.
They showed up every game every year when they sucked. You know, it's about when they're leaving. You know, they might leave in the third quarter once the game's a blowout. But, like, the Lions have never had an issue with the fans coming. They have an insanely loyal fan base. I do think that, of course, now it's much more difficult, and I've never been a fan of the fact of, oh, hey, the team's good now? Let's triple ticket prices. I've never been a fan of that because it's a big FU to the fans that have been loyal to the team when they weren't good. You know, like me personally, I haven't gone to a Lions game in like 2 years. I used to go to one every year because I just don't have a lot of time for it anymore. But two, it's like, I don't want to pay that much. I'd rather just watch it on TV, hear the broadcast. I get to consume all the other football that's going on too. Like, it's just not worth it. I'm not going on a whole ticket price rampage here, but it is frustrating. That's for sure. So let us know how you feel about Brad Holmes. Once again, 989-837-6125. We're going to touch on that throughout the rest of the show. I do quickly, though, want to talk about something that we hit at the end there. The Lions are clearly relying on their depth in quotation marks because I don't think they have a lot of depth to replace the guys they lost in free agency. Like, the only position that has been replaced so far is Graham Glasgow, who was cut. They bring in Cade Mays, and Cade Mays is now the center of the Lions. I like the move. I totally thought it was a good move. It's a good deal as well, and it's an upgrade over Graham Glasgow. But all these other positions, that's where there's bigger question marks at. Alex Anzalone's gone. I think Derek Barnes is just getting subbed into that will linebacker spot to be next to Jack Campbell. Either that or Malcolm Rodriguez, which, I mean, Barnes is paid, so you'd like to get him into a larger role probably, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be an upgrade or even the same level player. Khalif Raymond's gone. Isaac Tesla, here you go. You're now the official wide receiver 3. Like, should be no doubt about it this time around. Should always be on the field in 3 wide receiver sets. Returning punts, I don't know if maybe Tesla will do that. That's a big question mark too. Taylor Decker's gone. That's the huge question mark. Who's replacing Taylor Decker? Because right now it's Larry Borum or the draft pick. And I just have, once again, I will continue to reiterate, I don't love going into a draft saying we are taking a left tackle at pick 17 or a right tackle because everyone seems very obsessed with the idea of moving Penei Sewell back to left tackle. Okay? I just don't love going into the draft like we're taking that position no matter what. I just think it's a little bit restricting of yourself. David Montgomery has been replaced by Isaiah Pacheco, so I guess that's the only other position they've addressed via free agency. It is a downgrade. I don't think it's like a big enough downgrade where I'm going to be like, man, this one really hurts. But, like, Montgomery is for sure better than Pacheco. But on the contract that Pacheco's on, based off of the value they got for Montgomery in the trade, I think it's fair. And then Amik Robertson, who is the slot corner and also filled in on the outside as well with injuries, is gone. It seems like Rock Ya-Sin is just, hey, that slot corner nickel spot is just yours now with them bringing him back, which he was fine. Like, he ended up being a pretty solid player for the Lions at the end of the year. And maybe Ennis Rakestraw can play. But out of the 6 main guys that you lost, I'm not going to count Kyle Allen being replaced by Teddy Bridgewater. Out of the 6 main dudes that you lost, only 2 of them have been replaced via free agency, and only one of them is an upgrade. So Brad Holmes is just trusting his guys for now. There's still definitely a lot of time left in free agency, but you look at the player pool that's left, and it's just like, I don't know. This team has 2 edge rushers on it, man. Like, would definitely love if that position group got addressed. 989-837-6125. We got some fun stuff coming up in the show. John's going to hit us with the news next. The Big Ten tournament is rolling on. Michigan State will be in action tomorrow. We're going to dive into that a little bit, just about the outlook of the Big Ten tournament. I want to do some grand scheme March Madness discussion as well, because the team that's taken the nation by storm, Miami, Ohio, they start the MAC tournament today, and I just want to do a little thing on that. That's going to be it towards the end of the show. And then, of course, at the end of the show, mentioned it right off the top, but Freeland boys basketball is going to join us to preview and talk about their trip to the Breslin Center. They're playing in the semifinals tomorrow night. We'll have that game live here on 100.9 The Mid. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. Hey, I want to remind everyone, the Home Builders Association Home Show is this Saturday and Sunday right outside these doors here in Dow Diamond. Whether you're planning a remodel, building your dream home, or just want fresh ideas for your space, this is the place to be. If you have a product or service, too, this is your chance to connect with local homeowners, showcase what your business does best. It's happening this week, Saturday, Sunday, March 14th and 15th, right here at Dow Diamond. Tickets are $8. Kids get in free. think it's $5 for seniors as well. It's the Home Builders Association Home Show this weekend in Dow Diamond.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. At Air. The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mid. Hopefully you're not getting sick of me and John because you're stuck with us the rest of the week. Ben will be back next week, don't worry, and I'm sure he's going to have some raging hot takes about the Lions free agency. We're also going to have March Madness, so it's going to be a ton of fun. For now, though, it's John's time to shine. The Mid-Morning Catch.
The Mits Morning Catch.
All right, is it improving, John? Is you're getting into the news? Like, is it getting easier?
The getting into it, yes. The doing it and the want to do it is actually getting worse.
Oh, man. Why is that?
I just don't want to do it, you know? You know what it is? I've realized, like, sometimes you would think, oh, there's not enough to talk about. So then what am I going to think about? I think there's too much going on, and I don't know what to prioritize, and I just don't have enough time in my brain to kind of
I promise you
compartmentalize.
that's much easier than in the middle of the summertime when there's literally nothing going on and you're trying to come up with news that is just not even news.
Well, that's the best because you just are like, all right, like let's pretend that like today, like that a perfect example would be like I saw on our Facebook because I always check our Facebook first because that's just a great news source. Yaxel Lindenberg named first team All-American by the Sporting News. I'm like, when's the last time anyone's read the Sporting News? Have you read the Sporting News?
Never once in my life even.
Like, because it was at one point a magazine, a sports magazine. Anyway, like that's not our lead, but like that's pretty cool,
that's
right?
a solid thing in
And
the news.
that's-
First team All-American.
There you go. Good for him. But he's gonna want the accolades.
Yeah, the real AP one.
From the
the
Associated Press.
actual All-American stuff that comes
the
out.
NCAA, a Wooden Award,
Right.
like stuff like that. Anyway, talking about tournaments in March, let's start with the WBC. Last night, the Italians bailed out the Americans, getting a victory against Mexico.
Thank you, Vinny Pasquantino, man. He hit 3 homers in that game.
He didn't barrel a single one, by the way. None of them were
Really?
like, whoa, like he crushed it. Just put the ball in the air, folks, and let it fly. And he's just got
First
that.
Minute Maid Park for you, yeah.
He's just, well, and not the sponsor anymore. Kyle, come on, get up.
They're not Minute Maid anymore?
No. Because you know how I know that? Because I was like, oh, where's this quarterfinal? And it's back in Houston for U.S. and Canada.
What's it called?
Dalton, something with a D. Hold
Oh,
on.
no way.
Yeah, it's
Really?
bad.
How long has that been a thing? Oh,
Couple
man,
years
now
now?
I just feel like a casual.
It's okay. They change on a whim. Hold on. I should have had this prepared.
I mean, not really. It's just kind of off
no,
the
it's
dome,
okay.
though.
Dakin? Daikin? Daikin?
Yogurt? Is that a yogurt? Let's get off of this.
I don't know, but they play. U.S. plays Canada at 8 tomorrow in a quarterfinal. You're also going to have Korea, Dominican Republic, 6:30 p.m. in that game between, again, Korea, Dominican Republic. Single game elimination at this point in terms of quarterfinals. You lose, you go home. You win, you advance. The other quarterfinals, Saturday, Puerto Rico takes on Italy at 3, and then Venezuela plays Japan Saturday night at 9. What's the best of those games? Because it's not U.S.-Canada.
Why, you think the U.S. is just going to handle business?
It's just not sexy enough for me.
U.S. versus Canada? That was
in
like, it was
baseball-
sexy enough for hockey, yeah.
In baseball, no.
Okay.
Like, it'll be awesome if Megan Keller and Jack Hughes are there for the first pitch or something like that.
Yeah, Tate McRae's there.
Well,
like,
all right, Libby
that'd be
Dunn's
sweet.
there. No, yeah, keep
I
going.
mean, for sure, the best matchup is Venezuela-Japan, right?
Correct.
It has to be. Japan's team, I still think, is like the team to fear, just because they're the reigning champions outside of the U.S., of course. But Venezuela has rocked, and they have Acuna. Miguel Cabrera hangs out. He's like one of the assistant coaches in the dugout. Like, I think that team is the most underrated team. So I would say Japan versus Venezuela for sure.
There you go.
The U.S. has kind of lost their.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, do they have to kind of get your trust back or get I don't want to say even interest because, like, I'm going to be interested in the tournament even without the United States just because I'm rooting for the U.S. to win it all, of course, but I'm going to be still intrigued by it, but I'm not everyone. Like, do they still got to get the casual person's trust back in and show they care?
Yeah,
like,
I think so. I mean, I think a lot of people aren't going to care. I understand if you're not, like, super tapped into the World Baseball Classic. Like, I understand. Now, once the semifinals come, if you're a casual baseball fan at all, tune in. Like, I could see you not tune into the quarterfinals round, but once you get to the semis, these are going to be 4 pretty elite teams that all make it. The U.S. is plus 130 to win right now, and they were, like, minus 115 at the start of this tournament, so they have lost a little bit. Of course, they lost a game in pool play, so that plays into it a little bit. The Dominican Republic at plus 240, Japan plus 420. You still think the U.S. is going to win?
Yeah.
Like, take your bias away? I just, like, it's hard for me to say after what happened in that game against
so good,
Italy.
too.
When they just literally, you can say that you care. You can show that you care. You can be in the dugout and be tapped in or whatever. When you don't know the rules of the tournament that you're playing in, you clearly don't care enough. You don't care enough. And that's the part that's got me a little bit like, I don't know if the Team USA is going to win this thing.
Also, too, like, take aside the managing of that game, and you know, they obviously didn't prioritize the best of the best in that moment. The roster's backup should have still been good enough to win.
To beat Team Italy.
This is a stat, and it's no shot at the Italians, because, again, major leaguers throughout, some minor league guys at the back ends of the bullpen, but a lot of major leaguers. The reserves of Team USA should be good enough to win, not fall behind 8-0.
Yeah.
Like, don't you want to win all 7 games? Wouldn't that be like? It's only a 7-game tournament. This isn't, it's a
exactly.
week in
like
the
the
major
only
leagues.
guys
Like,
that need rest days are the catchers, man.
Correct.
Like everyone else should just be playing every day, So I'm with you.
So yeah, WBC will roll along, but no games today. In its place, though, today, just the entire existence of Power 5 college basketball is in action, basically. Nice clap there. We'll start with the Big Ten tournament because right away you're going to have action today. Ohio State taking on Iowa. The winner plays Michigan tomorrow. And then to close things, Rutgers, UCLA. And the winner plays Michigan State. Again, 11 a.m. for Michigan tomorrow. We'll have the Michigan State game either against UCLA or Rutgers. 8 p.m. coverage starting tomorrow, presented by Weiss Equipment, which will be wrapped up after the Freeland game, state semis-wise.
Wait,
it's a good day for hoops on the mid. 2 green and white schools, too.
And Michigan
Freeland
State,
and Michigan State.
Michigan State won't be in the Breslin Center.
No.
John and Freeland will be.
Correct, which is a little confusing.
It's kind of a little mismatchy there. Okay, I don't
and then
hate
Michigan
it,
State's
though.
playing in Chicago for some reason,
For some reason, yeah, right. The whole tournament is being hosted there.
No, I
correct.
mean the tournament should be in Brooklyn, right? Like where it was a couple of years ago. That's where the Big Ten, that's where the Big Ten people are, Brooklyn, New York. I know so many people from Brooklyn that are like, oh, dude, like I can't. I went home this weekend to Queens, but all my Brooklyn buddies were like, dude, the Big Ten tourney this year is going to be amazing.
Right, yeah, everyone's super tapped
It's
into
true.
that.
It's true.
All right, John.
You think I lie? Oh no, you think I'm done? No way. We got,
Okay.
Dude,
Keep
we got
rolling.
2 minutes on the song left.
No,
I'm
keep
gonna play
rolling
the
then.
song.
Fine, keep rolling.
I thought you were just gonna have an opinion on the Big Ten tournament, like wow.
We can get into that in the next segment.
All right. Next segment, huh? All right. I thought we were doing something else for next segment. Okay. I think my rundown's wrong. In terms of other college basketball news, Bobby Hurley, and why this is news, I can't
here we
believe
go.
that he was here for 11 seasons. I felt like he was coaching at Wagner in Rhode Island with his brother like yesterday, but 11 seasons at Arizona State, got fired after getting absolutely demolished yesterday in the Big 12 tournament. Will be intriguing to see who Arizona State hires. Where does Hurley fall, though? He's coming to the MAC? Eastern and Western. Have they hired new coaches yet, Kyle? You know
They have
better than I
not. The only coach that has been hired, Dusty May, one of his assistants, got hired to be Oregon State's next head coach. That's the only hiring that's been happening in college basketball. Yeah, there's a good amount of MAC jobs open. I think there's 4 of them open. Well, NIU is leaving the MAC, so they don't count. No, he's not. No way he goes to the MAC. I could see Bobby Hurls taking a year off. Got a lot of criticism this past year at Arizona State. And it's a tough conference. Like, the Big 12 is absolutely loaded, so it's easy to have a bad year. And they had a couple of good wins as well. But I could see him taking a year off of ball and then coming back in a following year. Of course, came from the MAC, was a coach at Buffalo for a couple of years before going to Arizona State. So has a chance, I guess, but I don't think so. If he goes to Western or Eastern, I would be pretty upset.
Yeah?
Because that's just like an awesome hire for them, obviously.
We'll see. Final thing to hit on, some more basketball stuff. Talk about more international play. Team USA women are in the FIBA World Cup, and Caitlin Clark made her debut for Team USA yesterday and dropped a double-double. I don't know. Looking back,
I think she came off the bench, though, right? I think I saw that she came off the bench, which I'm like...
17 points off the bench. Sheesh. I mean, that's a stacked team, Becker's, and
Totally.
once the Olympic team, the next Olympics, they're going to be stacked. Thank goodness Diana Taurasi won't be on the roster. And Caitlin Clark will be.
Right.
So, yeah. That's the mid-morning catch.
Okay. Thanks so much, John. 989-837-6125. As talked about to start the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to dive into some Tigers pitching rotation talk because it's basically been all negative Tiger stuff lately and with the pitching because it's all been about Tarek Skubal. I want to talk about some good stuff because I think this is the best rotation in the American League. There's some good competition, but I do think that they are the best in the AL. We're going to talk about that to start the 10 o'clock hour. Next, though, I want to talk a little bit more about the Big Ten tournament with Michigan and Michigan State and just an overall conference tournament discussion because this was had across all of college basketball. Should these conference tournaments be reseeded to favor the top seeds even more? Let's talk about it next. 989-837-6125. Hey, if you're looking for something fun to do right here in mid-Michigan, Go Great Lakes has you covered From festivals and live music to outdoor adventures, great food, and family-friendly events, GoGreatLakesBay.org is your one-stop guide to the Great Lakes Bay region. Whether it's a weekend plan or a last-minute idea, get out, explore local, and go Great Lakes.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth. The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth.
Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Myth, YouTube and Facebook. John talked about this in the news in the previous segment, and you did it to me yesterday, so I had to get you back for that one. Michigan and Michigan State will be in action tomorrow. They're opponent will be decided today with the Big Ten tournament rolling on. Iowa versus Ohio State is like, I love the Big Ten tournament, by the way. This is going to be my favorite game of the tournament so far. All these other games have been just like bad teams playing, which that's kind of the whole point of this segment is I don't think every team should just be in this tournament. I think the MAC does it right, man. The top 8 gets in. Everyone else doesn't get in. Why are all 18 teams playing in the Big Ten tournament? That's something I've never understood. The Big 12 has all their bad teams playing in it as well. Now, I get it when there's 18 teams. The Big Ten wants to send as many teams as possible. So, of course, it benefits them to have as many teams in the tournament because if Indiana, per se, was to win their game yesterday against Northwestern, they would have a chance to get in the tournament. Well, they didn't. They lost, and they're probably out of the tournament now. I don't know. What's the right number for Big Ten teams? A 12-team tournament maybe out of 18? The bottom 6 are just see you later? Because, I mean, there's no way the Big Ten would ever send more than 12 teams to the tournament.
No, that works for me. Days are meaningless in the beginning. No one's there. I don't know how it's a profit for the conference, like the operation cost. Because, again, no one's there. And then talking about which schools are there, if they're all, not in the Midwest, then it's the UCLA's of the world, USC, which won't be UCLA because they're good at basketball, but USC's, Rutgers, whatever. No one's gonna be there, man.
Right? Yeah.
For games they know they're going.
Especially because they start at 11 in the morning. Like the games today, people will start to be at, and there's 12 teams left in the Big Ten tournament right now. I think this would be the perfect start.
The whole the conversation point around college basketball and casual sports fans. And you really can't, there's few people that, really could say, wow, they follow everything in college basketball because it's so difficult. But why it's easy to be like, oh, the casual only follows in March is because every team makes a conference tournament. So you could just watch them, and then, all right, there's upsets, and the regular season doesn't matter if every team makes a tournament. Like, to your point with the MAC, all right, Central Michigan had to win a certain amount of games. They fell games short. That was the equivalent of a first and second round in the MAC tournament in the regular season.
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Didn't happen. Okay, great. Certain amount of teams go to Cleveland. You have to earn that spot. It's an incentive for the regular season. And boom. Because, again, at the end, for those teams that are just one team bid conferences, and hopefully the MAC's 2 this year, but the incentive, there is no incentive because you could just win if you're confident you're going to win your tournament as a 5 or 6 seed, it doesn't matter. You can go in and do that. There has to be some limit. It's different for every conference. Like the Big East, all 10 or all 11 teams make it. I'm for that just because there's only 11 teams. 18 in the Big Ten, 12 is probably a good number. You can give me 14 too. I'd be okay with that.
14 I wouldn't be that mad about.
You cut off the bottom 4. That's fine.
You don't have to start on Tuesday. You get to take out a whole day of people of an event being placed. It's like you said. There's no way that their profits are great on those days as far as people coming to the games. No one goes to those first couple days of the Big Ten tournament. People will buy the ticket package for the whole week and then just skip those first couple games because why would you go? They're terrible teams playing who have no chance of making the tournament.
And you could talk about media rights with certain games. The Big 12 was only on ESPN+. Big 10s was
really?
Big Ten Network for those second rounds. It's not like you have to, big networks requesting this or whatever. No, it's your conference that's retaining those rights to the early games. The big networks don't want them until they're pivotal. So just playing them to play them.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I just think that I always value the regular season. I want to do anything we can to add more value into the regular season, and especially this makes more sense for the mid-major tournaments. You see how the Sun Belt works. Their top 2 seeds are in the semifinals. Whoever is the top 2 of the regular season, they automatically are in the semifinals. I like how the Big Ten did it this year this is kind of the one benefit of the 18-team tournament. It allows the top 4 to get the triple bye. The triple bye was super valuable. At the end of the year, MSU is in a spot where it's they can't win the Big Ten. Michigan has already wrapped it up. It's not just MSU. All these teams that were in the mix of Illinois, Nebraska, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin even, all those teams that were in the same mix of the second tier in the Big Ten, those games at the end of the year mattered because you need to get into that top 4. To get that triple bye is so valuable. The fact that Wisconsin and Purdue have to play today, it's just an extra game. The fact that you get another bye, I think, is so huge. So I'm always in favor of doing anything we can to value the regular season because it's so tough for these teams, especially in the mid-majors that are one-bid leagues, that spend the whole year having great seasons, and I get it, it's the point of March Madness, but like you have a great regular season, you lose 2 or 3 games in your conference, and then you just lose in the first or second round of your conference tournament, and your season's over, and you have no chance of making the tournament. Like, I think that all these, especially mid-majors, need to change the format of their conference tournaments to be like the Sun Belt, to be like a league where you are just automatically in the semifinals. The West Coast Conference has been like this for years because we want to try to get anybody who's not Gonzaga in the tournament alongside them. And so that's how I've always felt. I understand that it is the point of March Madness. It's a one-game elimination. You lose and you're done. I totally get that. We're not done talking about college basketball, by the way, because to end the 10 o'clock hour, I want to dive back into the Miami, Ohio, and just to a grand scheme, mid-majors versus these Power 5 bubble teams. Who gets the at-larges? Because I'm sick of these teams that have losing records in their conferences, like Auburn, and they might get in the tournament over a good mid-major team. I've never been a fan of that. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're going to talk about the Tigers' rotation coming next. We're live on 100.9 The Mitt. We're live on YouTube and on Facebook.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, we're back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. We're on YouTube and Facebook as well. Let's talk some baseball. we're getting pretty close to opening day. We're about in the midway point of March. I know it's a time of year where everybody's on NFL free agency. Everybody's on March Madness. I love all that stuff. But I also am super excited for baseball to kick off. And yesterday, Tiger Spring Training, of course, continues to go on. And one of the more forgotten about signings of free agency was Drew Anderson getting signed by the Tigers. And I just wanted to show that he's been pretty good so far in spring. In 11 innings pitched, he's given up no earned runs, 14 strikeouts with just 2 walks. And that's a guy who I just completely forgot that the Tigers signed. And it takes me to a more grand scheme conversation of like, man, this Tigers rotation is just, it rocks. I mean, you look at the depth of this lineup. It has the peak guys. Tarek Skubal, who I just want to talk about him as the baseball player. I don't want to talk about him as the guy who's leaving the Tigers in the offseason. I don't want to talk about him as the guy who almost doomed Team USA after leaving them in the World Baseball Classic, the guy who is in a fight with the Tigers all the time, blah, blah, blah. I want to talk about him as the back-to-back Cy Young, who has a chance to three-peat Cy Youngs this season. He is absolutely the best pitcher in baseball, no doubt about it. So that's going to take the Tigers pitching group all the way up to the top as it is. But on top of it, you might have the best 1-2 punch in baseball, and this goes across all of the major leagues. For rotations as a whole, I mainly want to do American League because the Dodgers rotation is just, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as all of baseball goes, I mean, Skubal, Framber Valdez is killer, especially that they're both lefties as well, makes it a little bit more fun. You have the Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez in Philadelphia. I think that's a really good 1-2 punch, absolutely. The Dodgers take any 2 of their guys, and that's going to be a pretty good one as well. But that top 2 is pretty ridiculous. And then you add in Justin Verlander, a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, had a 3.85 ERA last year, but his final 8 starts had a sub-2 ERA, like really ended the year strong for San Francisco. Casey Mize, who was just an all-star last year, and I know that he went through the ups and downs of the season, but if he's now your number 3 or 4 starter, like, I think that's an awesome number 3 or 4 starter, and I don't think there's a lot of teams across baseball that have a 3 or 4 as good as Casey Mize. And then Jack Flaherty as your for sure number 5. Yeah, once again, wasn't great last year. Over 4 ERA, totally. But as your number 5 starter, there are much, much worse number 5s across all of baseball, let alone just the American League. And then on top of it, you have Drew Anderson, who you brought in, who I think like easily wins the top spot of the long reliever / 6th starter, doubleheader type guy. Kiter Montero fits that role. Sawyer Gibson-Long fits that role. Troy Melton is on the 60-day injured list. And once he returns, I think he probably is just your 5th best starter out like before Jack Flaherty. Of course, he has to get ramped back up and everything because he's going to spend most of the spring injured. And then we're just have Jackson Jobe chilling, who probably just doesn't play this season, coming off of the Tommy John, like with the depth that the Tigers have. No need to rush that guy back. Reese Olson's still on this team. I know he's not going to pitch this season, but man, this Tigers rotation is just deadly, John. And I've been excited to talk about this for a while because all Tigers stuff has just been centered around Skubal in a negative way. And it's almost made me forget about the reason why I was so excited when they signed Justin Verlander. And the reason why I was so excited when they signed Framber Valdez. Because that's why I'm so confident in the Tigers to have a great season this year. It's behind this pitching depth.
As it should be. Like it is at the forefront. And you mentioned the Dodgers. I would take them the best in the AL. And there's a lot of contenders. The Red Sox with Crochet and Sonny Gray.
Yeah,
but the back
signed
end,
Ranger Suarez too. Like,
yeah, yes.
Red Sox is good for sure.
And the back end, Peyton Tolley, like is a prospect I like a lot, so he could be something. The Rangers are always good, just because it's DeGrom and Evaldi.
Totally traded for Mackenzie Gore.
Evaldi should be bad, but he just continues to be good forever. That's ridiculous. He's getting up there. Don't forget about the Yankees, coming back. Garrett Cole,
I wrote down
35-year-old.
4 teams.
I know you didn't write down the Yankees.
I wrote
That's
down
why
4
brought them up.
teams, did not write down the Yankees. I think the Mariners rotation is the same as it was last year.
Sure.
And it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have like the super duper star, but they go Wu, Castillo, Gilbert, Kirby, Bryce Miller.
No,
like,
yeah.
That's a really depthy lineup. And then the Blue Jays, I think, is pretty good as well, with Trey Savage being as good as he was in the playoffs last year.
Correct.
They signed Dylan Cease. Kevin Gossman is still like solid for sure. But yeah, I mean, I still just think that the Red Sox is the only one that compares to the Tigers, and I'm still taking the Tigers because it has both, right? It has the elite best pitcher in the game, which already is going to boost your rotation. Like I was just going through lists of like what people were ranking the best rotations. The Pirates are in like the top 7 for a lot of these lists just because of Paul Skeens. Literally just because of Skeens. Like, so you have Skubal, then you have maybe the best number 2 in baseball, if not a top 5 number 2 in the sport. And then the depth is good too. Like, that's why I'm taking the Tigers over everyone in the American League.
Yeah, and you're not going to get pushed back from it. I just think, well, one, it's what Verlander and Flaherty you're going to get. Like, I'm more worried about them than anything else on this. But, yeah, like, the signing of Verlander is so underrated. The Valdez, it's tough to sell him more than just the numbers that he's already given, but that was such a big signing. Like, that was one that popped me a couple of weeks ago when that happened, because it was at the talks of all the Skubal stuff, like not the Team USA Skubal stuff, but is he coming back?
Oh, the court case, is it going to be live on YouTube to watch? Yeah.
The arbitration stuff. And to get him is just like, wow, like that's – because when Valdez is on, man, I mean, there's a meat argument to be made when he's on. There's no one better in a big spot, playoff spot in the American League.
Right.
You know, like
has
honestly,
a ton of experience there.
And to have him as well. So it's just, yeah, like that's it's worth a conversation piece. And it's hard to push back because, again, they have the postseason experience compared to like a Red Sox team that has, some good arms, but like not like Suarez does, but like not the experience as a collective. And then the other teams just don't have that back end depth. And you mentioned, and I'm glad you did, Job, because
he's just there.
He
just exists.
If you were forecasting this a couple years ago, he's in the Valdez spot right now. But they went out and got a free agent just based on what he was projecting to. Like, he is for real. Like, the injury is just so unfortunate because he is for real. And, yeah, we'll even see the field this year. I don't know. But if he does, if it's a long relief role, if it's maybe they do convert him this year just to get his arm back as like a back-end bullpen guy, it's just going to bring pitching just overall just exploded even more, which is just going to be awesome because, again, best rotation in the AL, which may not have space for Jackson Jobe, who, like, again,
was the top pitching prospect in baseball at one point.
Yeah, like, considering you're going to have Skubal, and, we'll see, but, like, considering going in this season, he would have been the guy forecasted to be number 2, and he's not even in the rotation this year, and it's still stacked.
Like, was supposed to be the Skubal replacement, essentially, and then they were like, actually, it's just going to be him and Framber Valdez. Like, let's just get 2 guys for 1, And so that's the part why I'm super excited about this season for them because, yes, it is the last year of Skubal, but, like, I understand that, and we have to recognize that, of course. I'm recognizing it because of how awesome this rotation is with Skubal in it. Like, even without the guy, it's still an awesome rotation. Then you add in the best pitcher in the league, the back-to-back Cy Young, maybe going for 3 in a row. Like, that's the part that's got me so pumped up, and it's the reason why I'm a little not as worried as a lot of fans about the likely regression that's coming for some of the hitters in this lineup because so many guys overperformed, at least for the first 75% of the season last year. They came back to reality at the end of the year. But like a Zach McKinstry, even a Javi Baez, Dylan Dingler, a lot of these guys that weren't expected to play major roles on this team, hitter-wise, were awesome for a good chunk of the season last year. And so I think some regression probably is coming for some of those guys. I don't know if it matters, though, with how awesome this rotation is. And this is without, I'm only doing the starters. Like, the bullpen, I mean, they have 3 real guys that you really trust in the back end. They don't have a lefty that is super exciting in the bullpen. Tyler Holton is just going to be the guy again, assuming this year, and he was a bit up and down last season. But the fact that you have Finnegan, Vest, and now Kenley Jansen, who's been added into this core in the back end, overall, this could be the best just pitching with rotation and pen, just unit in the American League. But I'm certainly confident that the starters, the Red Sox, the Rangers, both pretty good. Mariners, Blue Jays, I think, are in that mix as well. I do absolutely think this is the best rotation in the American League. And I would probably go a step further and say non-Dodgers-wise, they're the best in all of Major League Baseball. Probably just, can we just do that from now on? Can we just do, like, when we're talking about in all of the league, the Dodgers just don't count because they're just first in everything?
Well, think about, though, what rotation's most likely to stay healthy throughout the whole year. I mean, kind of banking on the Tigers there. Like, Dodgers have yet to have at least a regular season. Right. Some guys have come along in the postseason, but you're banking on injuries there for LA just based on the last couple of years. So there'll be a feeling this year where the Tigers statistically will probably be the best in baseball. But yeah, it's funny because again, it's the Dodgers at the forefront, but it's just such a stacked American League if we're talking about just starting pitching, and the Tigers are at the forefront of this.
Which is super exciting, and they play in the worst division in baseball, so that pitching should just win them the division off that. They
Correct.
could be
their numbers. I mean, those numbers are going to be even more juiced. Like, think about the Red Sox have to go through the East in terms of their offenses. The
exactly.
Rangers that have to see that get just indoor ballparks too. Tigers are in a pitcher-friendly ballpark with a division that is bad.
It doesn't have good. Even
great.
The one team that you fear, Kansas City. They're not going to beat you with offense. Their pitching staff is pretty good.
Yeah, no, Bobby Witt will have a single every now and again, but that's
Vinny
it.
Pasquantino might hit a home run.
Vinny
He was doing it in the World Baseball Classic. But yeah, their strength is their pitching, and it's just not as good as the Tigers. So the Tigers can be a middling offense this year, and it's probably exactly what's going to happen, and it should just be totally enough to have them win a ton of games and, of course, win this division. And I'm super pumped up for it. We're going to continue to follow the Tigers throughout spring training. 989-837-6125. Let us know how you feel about this Tigers rotation. We're going to do something fun next. Of course, a couple days ago in the NBA, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points in a game, which is, of course, ridiculous. So I'm doing the classic thing. I think me and Ben have done this before, but we're revisiting it here with me and John. What are some of the more unbreakable single game or single event records in sports? Because, of course, when you think of the most unbreakable things, they're all career awards. No one is breaking Cal Ripken's consecutive games played, whatever. I'm just talking in a single game or event. What are some of the more unbreakable ones that we think have a chance of, or don't have a chance of ever being broken? Because after Bam scored 83 yesterday or 2 days ago, maybe Wilt's 100 isn't that crazy. 17 more whole points, so I mean that's a good amount of points.
I don't know.
Let us know if you have any that you can.
Is the team tanking that they're playing?
Oh, that's a good one. A lot of the teams are tanking, so there's a good chance. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live on 100.9 The Mitt with Kyle Sandel and John Vicari. Hey, if you're looking for a move, meet Matt Smith Modern Realty, redefining real estate with a fresh modern approach. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, Matt Smith delivers personalized service tailored to you. Cutting-edge marketing, local expertise, and a commitment to making your real estate experience smooth and successful. From cozy starter homes to luxury properties, they know how to find the perfect fit. Trust the team that combines innovation with real-world know-how. That's Matt Smith, Modern Realty.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
What is the most unbreakable record in a single game or event in all of sports? That's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about this because, of course, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points for the Miami Heat the other night. Pretty ridiculous stuff. And I was under the belief that Kobe's 81 would just kind of never be topped. It would be the top score that I've ever seen, a.k.a. the most points actually scored in a real NBA game. That's right.
Boo.
I'm one of those people. So the fact that Bam did it, broke the 81. I know it's not the real record, but I'm just saying the modern record, Kobe's 81 for sure was. It's got me thinking, are any of these other things ever going to be beaten? I have a few for you, and I'm just kind of tossing these out there, and I want to get John's opinion. I want to get everyone else's opinion. You can text us in 989-837-6125. Drop a chat in the YouTube or Facebook as well, because it's kind of hard to come up with these. Anytime you look up what is the most unbreakable record in sports, they usually are just Cal Ripken, games played, or it's Wayne Gretzky points. It's all these career things. Tom Brady pass yards, LeBron James points. I'm talking in a single game or single event. So I've got a few for you. The first one is, of course, Wilt's 100. That's an obvious one. I'm going a little bit non-traditional here. Some people say this is a sport. Some people say it's not. It's an event. Joey Chestnut ripping 83 hot dogs. I don't think that'll ever be touched in 10 minutes. I mean, that's just...
It won't, unless it is by him, but I think he's on the back nine as an eater.
I was just going to say... and that is
I broke Kyle.
It is the proper term to call him that, but that's...
He's a professional eater, Kyle.
Man, so am I.
He's actually a major league eater. It's the MLE.
Anyways.
Wait, did you say so are you? I didn't know that. When did you get your pro card?
No, yeah, that's mainly a joke I'm making.
Oh.
So Chestnut's 83, like you said, it would only be broken by him, but I'm with you. I think he's a little bit washed. I still think he's at the top of his sport.
The King's not washed. We've had him on this air. Do not call him washed in my presence.
No. He's washed in terms of his career.
No.
He's like LeBron. He's like LeBron.
No, that's too
Chestnut
far. He's
is
still the best.
Chestnut is current LeBron.
No, absolutely not. He's still the best.
And LeBron is still the best.
That's cat. He's the best player in the NBA?
That was rage bait for you LeBron
That's
James
crazy.
haters out there. Hopefully Anthony Bellino is listening. So
Bellino doesn't even know what the NBA is.
Chestnut's 83. That's one of them.
Yeah, like Pizza Man getting it wrong in our YouTube chat. DiMaggio hitting streak, not what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's not what we're talking
he's
about.
He's right, but it's also we're talking about single
game or single event. I agree.
Yeah,
The
if DiMaggio had
hitting
7
streak,
homers in a game, holy crap.
LeBron James scoring 10 points in a row for 1,200 games or whatever it was. Of course, that stuff's never being broken. I'm talking in a one-game, single-event thing. Okay, so we went with eating, not really a sport. Let's go with a real sport. I am going to the Olympics, though. Sprinting. Usain Bolt with the 9.58 100-meter dash, that never gets touched, right? I mean, I know that as we get further and further into just the evolution of human beings, maybe we'll get faster.
Yeah.
But Usain Bolt is just, I mean, that 9.58 on the 100-meter dash, I don't know if that ever gets touched.
Yeah, and going on the assumption that the next person to try and break it would be doing it natural and not with performance-enhancing drugs,
True.
I don't think it's. I don't like. He was the genetic perfect thing for that. Like we could talk about like how sports medicine has evolved and training and this and that. I just don't know what will evolve further that will get you a guy like Usain Bolt to run that fast. I just
never.
You know.
By the way, when I was looking up this stuff, me and John discovered that Cy Young has 749 complete games pitched in his career.
It sounds fake. It really does.
I think it is fake. That's my thing. Okay, Next one I got for you. This is. I'm going back to the major sports now here because I don't know if this one ever gets touched. Scott Skiles, MSU former Spartan, 30 assists in a game.
Easily breakable.
Is the current NBA record.
Easily
when
breakable.
I'm looking at all the NBA records, though, like I'm thinking that one might be the one that is at least most difficult to. Right? Like it is
if
breakable.
If someone made it a goal,
it is breakable, but it hasn't happened yet.
No
one
likes passing. If someone wanted to make that, I think if you found the right player to try and go for that record, they could.
I think they could, but I also think it would have been done by now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my only thing.
Nah, people like scoring, dude. Also, too, and this is no shot at him, I'd love to rewatch that game where he broke it. How they kept track of assists in the previous era was definitely
that's a good point.
Was definitely
John Stockton.
Questionable. Jordan.
Right.
There's games where it's like, oh, Jordan had this many assists, and then you watch it back, and you're like, no, he did not. Like, just completely home scoring. Like, now it's you know, it's more advanced scoring too, but you got multiple cameras, multiple people. It's harder to have 30 true, primary assists.
I think it's tougher to get that than it is like the 3-point record that we have.
Yeah.
Like Klay Thompson hitting 14 threes, like stuff like that. I think
that's again, you're banking on someone else too.
I think the shooting and scoring stuff is much easier to break in the NBA than, of course, the assist stuff. Yeah, I mean, like you said, you're relying on someone else. But like my whole thing is, how has Russell Westbrook not done this? How has Nikola Jokic not done this? Like when we have these guys that have racked up insane assist numbers in their career, it's still Scott Skiles, little white guy, his 30 assists, top of the list. I have another one. I think this one gets broken, but it's another one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know. With the way the sport has been going, the NFL passing yards in a game record is 554, which just when you hear that number, it really doesn't seem like unfathomable, right? Joe Burrow in 2021 threw for 525 yards. So he was just 30 yards away from breaking the all-time record. So I would think it is beatable, but with the way the NFL has moved, it's kind of getting to a point where like these gaudy numbers are getting less and less. The kickoff stuff takes away like 15 yards essentially on every possession because most of these teams are starting with the ball at the 35 or 40-yard line instead of the 20. Like that's taking away potential passing yards in a game. Norm Van Brocklin, I'm sure you knew that he was the all-time single-game pass leader, John, right?
I did.
Of course. 1951, L.A. Rams versus the New York Yanks.
Yeah,
yes,
there you go.
The football team, the New York Yanks.
They sucked. No, I don't.
Right, exactly. But even like the more modern guys.
Well,
Jared Goff in 2019 threw for 517 yards. Matt Stafford in 2012 threw for 520 yards.
I know
like I said, Burrow.
I know it's a little less, and it's probably a negative memory for you. But, Matt Flynn threw for 480 yards in a game once. Like, a 554, especially we're talking overtime, too. New overtime format, I think it could happen. Like, there's just so much passing talent.
I guess the overtime, I didn't really think about that.
What's really changed it is the two high safeties now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like they just don't let you pass deep down. I mean, like you
Yeah.
still can. Of course, you're playing against a bad defense, like anybody can. But I think the kickoff stuff like really plays into this, man.
That's who.
That's 10, 15, 20
That's a good
yards
point.
taken away from every drive that you just can't get through the air. And you also just have to be a team that only passes. So I think that plays into it. It probably will be broken in our lifetime, but it's another one of those things that like this record is held since 1951.
Wow.
Like no one has broken this record in 75 years. That's kind of crazy to think about. So the only other one that I thought about was no one has ever rushed for 300 yards in a game. Adrian Peterson still holds the record with 296. The receiving yards in a game record I think absolutely will be broken, but the rushing yard one is one where I'm like, no one's gotten to 300, huh? When Saquon rushed for 255 a couple of years ago in 2024, that was pretty insane. It was like one of the more unreal games we've seen. It's like you have to get 50 more yards on top of it to break the all-time record. I think someone can, but I certainly don't think it's going to be easy.
No. I the rushing one is just so intriguing.
300.
300 happens, it feels like every 5 years in college.
It's a good point. I didn't even look at the college record stuff. Those might be unbreakable ones because you just have the most this tiny school you never heard of. This guy scored 138 points in a game. Correct. Remember that guy? I think his name was Jack Taylor. Some D3 school dropped 130 in a real basketball game in college.
Way.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It was like 10 years ago.
Wow,
Do you have any other ones off the top of your head that are really unbreakable? I don't think so.
There's some in the YouTube chat coming our way about us that are pretty good.
Okay.
Do you want to read them from Noah?
Sure. Go for it.
Oh, me read them? The number of seconds it takes Ben to crash out should be an honorable mention for an unbroken record. If you're trying to get Ben to crash out, how quickly can you do it?
Hey Ben, Giovanni Manu, what do you think? Boom. Record broken.
The time it takes Sarah to leave a date when a gift card gets pulled out should also be a record too.
Oh my gosh, Noah is firing on all cylinders right now. That's a deep pull. The gift card take was quite some time ago.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
True fan, True fan.
That's really good. I am seeing this one now. Wilt's woman record is probably more impressive than the 100 points.
Also made up.
I do agree. Wilt, like Genghis Khan out here, just 10% of the population or whatever it is, just belongs to Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Joey Chestnut, 83 hot dogs. I would say that's the most unbreakable one. For a single game event, 83 dogs, professional eater, I think that's the number one most unbreakable record. Okay, 989-837-6125. Thanks for letting us do a stupid, silly segment there here on the Ben Bosscher Show. I'm sure Ben is probably fuming if he's listening to the show right now. We got Around the League coming up next. Don't worry, we got a ton of stuff coming up on the show. We're going to revisit this Brad Holmes conversation. We're going to talk about March Madness because it's almost here. We're in the conference tournaments right now as well. And we're going to have Freeland Boys basketball joining us at the end of the show, which is going to be pretty cool to preview their Breslin Center trip semifinal game that is tomorrow. Hey, I want to tell you quickly about Link Technology. I know a little bit about technology, but not enough. And that's why I trust Link Technology in Midland. They handle all the complicated stuff, IT support, cybersecurity, cloud solutions, networking. I don't have to stress about it. Whatever your business needs, their team knows exactly what to do, and they make it easy to understand along the way. Link Technology, the experts who keep your business running smoothly so you can focus on what you do best.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth. Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
NFL free agency continues to roll on. I know the Lions aren't making any moves, which is still disappointing. No updates as far as the show going on this morning with the Lions. If anything happens, of course, though, we will let you know. Hopefully, they do some stuff. Other teams are still doing things, though. That's why we're going to take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
Okay, John, we're going to talk about some other moves that have been made throughout free agency so far that we really haven't gotten to touch on. None of these are like breaking because there hasn't been any huge moves made, at least since yesterday's show. But I want to just touch on some stuff that we haven't talked about this week. First off being that Travis Kelce is just back on the Chiefs this season. Is this surprising to you? Did you think he was going to retire? Taylor Swift, this, that? Like, what do you think about Travis Kelce being back on the Chiefs?
Well, when it's all body, right? Like, if the body could do it, mentally do it, because he does his podcast during the season anyway, right? He finds enough acting role. He finds enough time to go to concerts. It's all right, can my body go through 17 games or, at least projected to go 17 and then the postseason additionally. And I think he knows that the Chiefs window is still open, right? They're still, I think, a team that they feel can win the Super Bowl. And just based on how open the AFC was without them and who's going to take the reins, a quarterback in his second year, it was probably instilling a belief that, maybe we got another Lombardi run in us, so why not come back for another year?
Right.
Hopefully, and he's hoping the Chiefs attack free agency and maybe some of the draft with getting some more pieces to help the cause. But, yeah, like you're going to still play if you can, and he thinks he still can. And also, too, I think with the expectation now that, like, all right, he's not going to be a top tight end in the league, right? Like, we're putting him
sure, but
outside the top five.
I was going to say, he's still for sure like a top 10 tight end. Like, there isn't a lot of, like, insanely good tight ends in the league.
I mean, think of how, like, what, you got Warren in the Colts.
McBride, of course.
McBride, you got
Kittle. Bowers.
Bowers, thank you. That's what I was forgetting on the Raiders. Like, right
Laporta.
there, that's boom, 5.
There's
like,
your 5.
And and not even bringing up some veterans. Like, I just think for him, it's more what the window for the Chiefs looks like, and he wants to be a part of it.
Isaiah Likely, now the Giants tight end.
Dude, Theo Johnson and Isaiah Likely, look out.
Best
Look
tight
out,
end duo
NFC
ever, yeah.
East.
Tucker Kraft, too, is a guy who I
Dude,
don't
talk
like,
about
but like
NFC East. Eagles every year. I know he doesn't get the love. Dallas Goedert's great. So
he's fine.
he's great every year.
Great?
He's a great tight end, yes.
Great. I
Yes.
think we're just throwing around the word great.
He's a great tight end.
A little bit too hard
He is
there.
a great tight end.
Yeah, I
Look
mean,
at the numbers.
the Chiefs trade away Trent McDuffie, get an extra first-round pick. Kenneth Walker signed to Kansas City, and I'm just like, I still can't believe Seattle let him go. And it's
Super
tough.
Bowl.
It's tough that the Chiefs get K9. Hopefully he's not in a split with Kareem Hunt because that would just be pretty similar to the way things went in Seattle. But I love K9 to the Chiefs. I think it's a big-time move. They paid him as well, so like shout out to the former Spartan for getting a payday, joining a good Chiefs team. It seems like Mahomes is going to be back for like because obviously coming off the tough injury last year, but I think he's going to be good to go. So, yeah, I think Kelce coming back makes a lot of sense. Is this his last year, though?
Can I say who cares or no? Is that bad guy out of me? I
No,
mean,
I
we're
think
going to
that's
do this
fair.
for how long?
I mean,
It's the same thing with Gronk. Oh, is it his last year? Oh, he comes out of retirement. Like, I don't know. Like, it's his last year that he does the reality TV circuit and podcasts, and then he's like, man, this Taylor Swift's annoying. I take a year off, maybe I come back.
Yeah.
Like Gronk, right? Like, just how the tight end works, and he's going to have enough stature, popularity where someone would give him a contract, regardless of if he actually has to prove it in a workout or something like that. And why not?
It's only going to be on the Chiefs, though. Like, I think
Why
this
not?
is last year.
Who says that,
It's
Come back.
Mahomes and Kelce, man. Like,
You can come back.
and T. Swift.
It depends if the money's enough. Yeah, and T. Swift.
Yeah, exactly.
If the money's enough and she's like, hey, you want to go play in L.A. with the Rams, when they're rebuilding post-Stafford? Why not?
Right, they're rebuilding, so let's bring in old Travis Kelce.
Let's
with
bring
Taylor
him
Swift.
in.
Makes sense. Okay, let's move on because this Max Crosby Raiders stuff is still just so fascinating. Max Crosby's back on the Raiders, and all the buzz has been like, Are the Raiders just going to trade him somewhere else now? Like, I thought about the worst-case scenario of no one wants to trade for him at all, but he doesn't want to go back to the Raiders because they traded him, of course, and then there's such a feud that he just gets cut. That obviously is not going to happen. The Cowboys were one of the teams that were rumored to still be involved in Max Crosby, but Crosby threw out a big social media post yesterday, basically just saying, like, everything happens for a reason. I've been with the Raiders my whole career, and it didn't work out with this whole situation, and I'm willing to move on, and I'm excited to be back in Vegas, and this is where I belong. Of course, it's like things that you have to say when you're going back to a team, but Crosby has always kind of done the mantra of, I love the Raiders. I don't want to leave the Raiders. I want to build something here. I don't want to be on another team. I want to do it with Vegas. And now he's just back with them. And the big question was, like, the Raiders spent all this money after trading Max Crosby because they had to. They had to get to that salary floor number that the NFL requires. And then now they're just adding Max Crosby's $30+ million contract back into the mix. And they're just going to keep all the guys that they signed. They were made official yesterday. They're honoring all those contracts. So Tyler Lindenbaum's huge deal that he got is sticking with Las Vegas. I think it would be so funny if now that, they thought they were building this new team without Max Crosby, Mendoza, Lindenbaum, and then whatever else happens, what if they're just good now? Like, what if Crosby comes back, has another awesome season, and the Raiders are good, and this just ends up being, like, the weirdest backfire that worked out for Las Vegas?
Who's their quarterback? Fernando Mendoza. You're banking on a rookie quarterback to be great.
Yeah.
And hopefully he is. I like him a lot, but
has winning
that's what you're
tactics,
banking on.
of course.
They've always had the weapons, right? Like, just mentioned Bowers. Crosby's always been there. They've always looked good on paper, even coming into this past year. And,
right.
and the conversation was, what Geno did, and in Seattle, maybe that's an underrated team, and they were god awful. They knew when to lose though at the end of the year, so they could slide down the draft and
of course
take the top pick away from the Giants. But
hey, and Pete Carroll said he thinks Geno Smith is going to bounce back with the Jets.
Sure. Hey, good for him. That's acknowledging that he's the problem.
He's
you know what?
Yeah.
Like
Good point.
The person I was dating was good before me. Probably will be good after me as well. So good on Pete. Good on Pete.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's ownership.
I was the problem.
Last thing here and around the league today, Kyler Murray is meeting with the Vikings, and it was reported yesterday by Ian Rappaport that he is the front runner to land in Minnesota. That's the guy that they're looking for. Now, I saw something this morning that the Vikings said they're not giving up on J.J. McCarthy, this or that. Yes, they are, man. They absolutely are. If Kyler Murray gets brought in to the Vikings, J.J. McCarthy's time as a starting quarterback in Minnesota, at least, is over. I don't know if they would look to trade him or not, maybe keep him as the backup, but clearly they're giving up on McCarthy. There's no doubt about that. I have a lot of opinions on if Kyler Murray goes to the Vikings. I don't want to really dive into them until it actually happens, but he's meeting with them today, and all I'll say is, like, I'm scared. That's all I'll say. I think Murray on the Vikings is scary for the Lions.
To quote Lizzo, new man on the Minnesota Vikings? Whew.
Could be Kyler Murray.
That's
be Kyler
intriguing.
Murray, man. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But I just think that for the people that still believe in JJ, it's not happening in Minnesota. Like, you can still believe in him. It's not happening with the Vikings. It's going to have to be to another team. I think that
Lions backup? Who said that? Come on.
I did see someone on our Facebook said that, and I was like, why would ever the Minnesota Vikings trade him in division? Like, that'd be worst case scenario for them. Yeah, new man on the Minnesota Vikings potentially in Kyler Murray. 989-837-6125. That is Around the League, brought to you, of course, by Aired Insurance Group. Every day Around the League is. At Aired Insurance, they understand not everyone's insurance needs are the same. They want to work personally with you to create something best suited for your needs. Whether it's life, home, auto, fiscal insurance, it's all available with the Aired Insurance Group with Farm Bureau Insurance. I do want to read one quick text before we head into the break, because Ken texted in about the previous segment we did with the records that are going to be broken. Thought this was good. If Bam can score that many, I do believe Wilt's 100-point record could be broken. On the other hand, I never thought anyone would ever break Wayne Gretzky's goal record, so anything is possible.
That's true. Alex Ovechkin.
Someone can break Joey Chestnut's record then. It's official.
Oh.
989.
Maybe his son.
Could be that's actually probably the most likely thing if he gets into eating like his father did.
I mean, eating genetics, the lineage. I
Right.
mean, he's gonna be training when he's a kid. It might be a Charlie Woods, Tiger Woods situation. It might.
Right. Yes, it absolutely could be. 989-837-6125. We're going to talk about Maction next on the Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
So in 10 minutes, Maction tournament kicks off, and it's Miami, Ohio versus UMass. I know everyone just clicked off of this, but I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. Miami, Ohio, who's ranked number 20 in the AP poll. If you've been living under a rock, Miami, Ohio is 31-0. They haven't lost a game all year. They played in the game of the year against Ohio to end the regular season to go undefeated. And the conversation that's been being had is like, do they deserve an at-large bid? And everyone's probably thinking, if you don't keep up with the MAC, which you probably don't, why would you? Well, they're just going to make the tournament because they're undefeated. They're going to win their conference tournament. Of course, they're just going to get the automatic bid. Well, no, that's not the common belief, because Akron has won the MAC 2 years in a row. They went 17-1 in the MAC, only lost to Miami. Every single advanced metric that you look at has Akron better than Miami. They're better in net. They had a better strength of schedule, this and that. Miami just beat Akron by 3 points earlier in the season. They only played one time. And so the question becomes, is Miami going to make the tournament as an at-large, a mid-major MAC at-large, if Akron wins, or if anyone else, I guess, wins the MAC tournament? And this caused a ton of debate. Bruce Pearl went on TV and said, no, if they have to go undefeated, they won't make it as an at-large. They could lose in the MAC championship game. It could be their only loss, and they will not make the tournament. Auburn deserves to get in, who had a below 500 conference record. Here's my opinion, John. Any team that has a below 500 record in their own conference is automatically eliminated from making the tournament. It should be an auto elimination, because the committee and the board and all this stuff, they love to go off of net rating, and I do love to follow the net. I'm a huge Ken Pom guy. I think it's a good way of judging what teams are good, but a lot of it is just based off of the teams that you play against. You know, if you're losing close games against good teams, it's going to favor you in the net. There's a reason why a lot of these teams in the SEC and in the Big 12 that went 7-11 in conference play still have a good net rating, because they played a bunch of really good teams. You have to win some of the games. Like, you have to win. All these bubble teams this year stink. There are so many teams, and this is another reason why the whole, should the tournament be expanded to 68 teams? Should we go to 76 teams that's been talked about? Hell no. Like, there are going to be bad teams in this tournament. And when I say bad teams, I'm not talking about the 16 seed that won the random conference that you've never heard of. I'm talking about the teams that are playing in the last four in. The 11 seed Power 5 teams that lost 12 games and are in the tournament. Those teams stink. Indiana, if they get in the tournament, they're bad. They got beat by double digits against Northwestern in their first opportunity yesterday in the Big Ten. But yet they might make the tournament. I'm so anti-expanding this tournament, and if anything, I'm pro put more mid-majors in. Because you sent me a really good stat that was mid-majors that have made the Final Four since the tournament expanded to 68 teams. And it's like 12 or 13. And then it's teams that had a below 500 record in conference play. Power teams that had below 500 record in conference play that went to the Final Four. It's one ever. Like, the mid-majors they're just better for March Madness. They're better for the tournament. They're better for the storyline. They're easier for fans to root along for. You get to know these teams because you don't really know them that much. I've watched Auburn lose 10 games this year when I've watched them play. I watched them lose to Michigan by 40. We're putting that team in the tournament? I just don't understand what's the point of ever doing any, like, these mid-major teams. It's so difficult for them to get into the tournament. Miami's won every game this year. Do they have a good strength of schedule? No. I've watched them play a ton of times this year. I went to Oxford and watched them beat up on my team by 30 points. They didn't play anybody this year, man. They have a bottom 5 strength of schedule non-conference in the country. They absolutely should be in the tournament, though. They haven't lost a damn game. Like, if you think that they should not be in the tournament, I have one word to describe you. Loser. You are a loser. You are a loser if you think Miami, Ohio. You are a miserable loser if you think Miami, Ohio should not be in the tournament. There's my Maxion rant for you, John.
Whoa, Bruce Pearl is going to be really sad you said something. You know what's funny, too? Like, you talk about, like, whether they're an appeals storyline. They actually are. Like,
they totally
they've taken over the college basketball world. When I came out of the St. John's Seton Hall game last Friday, Miami and Ohio were on the TV. and a guy just goes, oh, it was tied. That was before the overtime. But, Miami's on the ropes. And there was 40 people that gathered around a TV at a bar outside of the section of seats that I exited to watch Miami of Ohio versus Ohio basketball. No, maybe a couple people there were college basketball diehards and maybe knew a couple players, but no one probably knew the coaches or majority of the roster. But they know the undefeated Miami of Ohio that's being talked about because they're just, they shouldn't get in. It was so much easier too, Kyle, before the Ken Palm and the net rating, because under that stuff, it's who cares about winning games, strength of schedule, and if you play good enough, and the bar for playing good enough just keeps getting lower and lower because we keep expanding the tournament.
Right, exactly.
Indiana 15 years ago, and this is not just based on name value here, they're on the bubble this year because of those ratings, but 15 years ago, even with their name value, they're not on the bubble. They're on the bubble because these ratings help justify, their strength of schedule and losses. It was easier when it was just Miami of Ohio is undefeated.
Right.
Wow.
Wichita State went undefeated.
Wow.
1 seed.
Let's put them in. There was the old clip of Wichita State, and gosh, the opponent's gonna escape me here, but it was Wichita State versus someone else, and they were 10-11 in the country. Just because they were both so dominant.
Yeah.
It's no way would that happen again.
It took Miami
No way.
until a month ago to be ranked.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, once again, I understand, I'm totally all for the strength of schedule stuff. They played nobody. Their non-conference is a joke. Their biggest win of the year, it comes in the MAC against Kent State and Akron. Those are their 2 best wins of the year. I understand all that stuff. But to John's point, Indiana, who went 18-14 this season, just lost in their first game in the Big Ten tournament, is ranked 44th in net. They're ranked 44th in net just because they played Michigan and they played MSU because they're in the tournament? What? So what does Miami have to do? Join the Big Ten to get in the tournament?
Correct.
This is stuff that it really frustrates me. So you can let me know, too, 989-837-6125, if this stuff bugs you at all. Because this Miami-Ohio stuff, it was a hot topic, man. Every game I would go to, people that's the first thing they bring up. So what do you think? Miami-Ohio, are they going to get in or not? I think they're locked. I think they're in the tournament no matter what, but some people believe if they don't win the MAC tournament, then they won't make it. Coming up next, we're going to get back into this Brad Holmes stuff. What do you think? Is he doing a good job or not? That's up next here on The Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth.
Big news. Answer.
We are almost 3 whole days into free agency for the Lions. Make that 4 whole days, actually. Yeah, now that it's Thursday. Man, I'm getting my days mixed up. We're almost 4 days into free agency, and the Lions really have not done a ton. And we are over 24 hours since Brad Holmes restructured Jared Goff's contract to create $32 million in cap space. And what have the Lions done with it so far? Whole lotta nothing. Does that make you upset with Brad Holmes from a grand scheme perspective? Of course it makes you upset, right? How can you not be when the Lions cleared up this cap space, haven't done anything yet? You look at the available player pool in free agency. There still are guys out there. I'm still going to continue to harp on, I think, Rasheed Walker or just adding a starting left tackle. It doesn't even specifically have to be him. He's just the best guy on the board, so that's why I'm all in on him. I still think that's what the Lions have to do. I don't love going into the draft saying this is easily who we're taking in the draft in the middle of the first round. I'm not saying you can't get a good tackle in the draft. I'm just saying it's not a good idea to go into it saying, yep, that's the position we're taking no matter what. And then what if you get to that spot and there's not guys that you like at that spot? Totally could happen. I've also been seeing Lions fans are really adamant about this Penei Sewell is moving to left tackle thing. And I'm just wondering, it's of course based off of a lot of these rookies that are coming in that are projected to go in the range of 17 in the draft are right tackles. And so Penei Sewell, who moved to right tackle when he came to the Lions, was a left tackle in college. It's always been a speculation that Penei Sewell would move to left tackle. And I've just never been really on board with that. I'm sure he would be great at it. I'm sure he would be totally fine with it. But I just think that when it works, you have him and Ratledge next to each other on that right side. That feels like your right side of your offensive line for 10 years or however long that Ratledge continues to play at a high level and Penei Sewell does. So messing that up, I'm not a huge fan of. Now, who is starting on the left side of the line for the Lions next year is such a major question right now. Because at left guard, Christian Mahogany is just auto default in that spot for Detroit. Left tackle is the one that hasn't gotten filled yet and is the one that I don't know when it's going to be filled, whether it's free agency or the draft. But the main reason why we're talking about this stuff with Brad Holmes as far as man, why is he not doing anything? Why is he not making any moves? I'm so sick of Brad Holmes. It's all been negativity. We threw out a bunch of stuff on our Facebook yesterday about Holmes, and it's all down the drains with this guy. And I think that the pendulum has swung way too far to the opposite side for Brad Holmes. This guy is a good GM. Whether you think he's a great GM or just a good GM, I think is really the subject to be had. But there's no way that you can convince me he is bad, that he's a bad general manager. When he's drafted, I was corrected earlier, 6 All-Pro players in the first 3 drafts he was here in Detroit, because Sam Laporta made second-team All-Pro his rookie year. I honestly didn't remember that. Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch, that doesn't even include those 2 guys. 6 All-Pro players through 3 drafts. That's ridiculous. There is not a lot of guys named to the All-Pro team every year, and he's got 2 of them per draft. Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown in his first draft. That doesn't include the fact that he drafted Aleem McNeil and Derek Barnes in the 3rd and 4th round, who, of course, are very impactful players on this Lions team. 2022, Aiden Hutchinson. Now, that one kind of fell into his lap a little bit. It's kind of like people who, do you give the Pistons credit for drafting Cade Cunningham at first overall? Not really, right? You just had that top pick. He was the best guy there. Pretty obvious pick. Jacksonville is honestly the one to give credit for the Hutchinson thing. Trayvon Walker, sure, we'll take him instead of Hutchinson. But drafting Kirby Joseph in the 3rd round, we're totally giving Holmes credit for. 2 All-Pro guys, and that doesn't even include Jamison Williams, who's in that draft, traded up to get him, who's coming off of an awesome season. And then 2023, we just talked about it. Jahmyr Gibbs, who's not even an All-Pro player. I can guarantee you, Charles Barkley guarantee that he will be an All-Pro player in his career. Jack Campbell, already an All-Pro in that first round. Laporta, already an All-Pro. And Brian Branch isn't, but certainly, plays at an All-Pro level as a safety. Hopefully he can get back to where he was post-injury. And it's just the last 2 drafts where it's really fallen off. And I think that a common take with Holmes was that he tried to get a little fancy in the last couple of drafts, especially with the later picks. Oh, we're going to take Giovanni Manu, this guy no one's heard of, and he's this project left tackle from British Columbia. But look at him. Like, he's a massive human being, and he moves like no one else for his size. Sione Vaki, this guy plays safety and running back, and I don't even know where we're going to play him yet because he never sees the field. I don't even know what position he is. He's been out there for special teams. I think he's a running back. Mekhi Wingo, Christian Mahogany also taken at the end of that 2024 draft. And then 2025, Tate Ratledge, and I think that's just for sure a hit. Credit to them for getting Tate Ratledge. I think he's going to be the right guard of the tackle, or right guard of the Lions, unless they move him to center post Cade Mays. I don't think that's happening now that they did sign Mays. He just should be the right guard of the Lions for some time going forward. Isaac Tesla in the 3rd round. It's the most controversial pick there is. You either love the guy, you hate the guy. I've never understood why is there so much polarization about Isaac Tesla. It's pretty hilarious. And then the Tyleik Williams in the 1st round. That one's still up in the air just because it was a pick that you made to fill in for an injured Lee McNeil. And then once the Lions' defensive line was healthy, it was like, okay, now what do we do with Tyleik Williams? It also helps that Roy Lopez was great. He had to see the field. DJ Reader was still on the team, who just eats up the interior of the defensive line no matter how good he's playing. Just his size makes him impactful. So with no DJ Reader, no Roy Lopez next year, feels like Tyleik Williams is at least going to have a more productive role on the field. He's going to see the field more often. So you take all of that previous Brad Holmes history stuff into account. How much does that outweigh the doing nothing right now? Because the Lions' expectations have changed. When he first came here, they were down in the dumps, 30 years without a playoff win, and now they're different. After 2 years of really good success, going to the NFC Championship game, being in a prime position to win that and go to the first Super Bowl ever in Lions history, they lose. Come back 2024, amazing regular season. The defense was depleted, and it didn't matter. You had 2 amazing coordinators that both get head coaching jobs following the season, yet you lose in the first round of the playoffs. And then you come back in 2025, and myself, Ben, most Lions fans just figured it's going to be more of the same. And for the first chunk of the season, I felt that way, right? And then you lose that game at home to Minnesota and J.J. McCarthy, and things really started to go the opposite direction. You missed the playoffs entirely. And all of a sudden, Brad Holmes is the devil. Brad Holmes is the worst GM in sports. And I want to remind people of the good that he's done, because clearly there are much, much worse guys in his position across the 32 teams in the NFL. Is he the best there is? No. Is he stubborn with the way he likes to do things? Yes. Especially with the trade deadline stuff, totally. But I think there's been more good than bad. And it's just because of the expectation change, which is fair, by the way, now that the Lions do have to remove themselves from the Cleveland Brown tier of the NFL, right? We're no longer a part of these poverty franchises. People want to come to Detroit. People want to play for this culture and Dan Campbell and what Sheila Hamp Ford has built in Detroit. Does that stuff outweigh Brad Holmes doing nothing so far in free agency outside of signing Cade Mays? Because that's the only upgrade they've made. They've had 6 major losses in free agency. I guess that's major losses. Some of them are clearly more major than others. But Alex Anzalone gone. No replacement for him. It's going to be a guy already on the team. Derek Barnes or Malcolm Rodriguez for sure going to fill in that Anzalone role, and they'll shift around the defense a little bit. Cade Mays is an upgrade over Graham Glasgow. That's the one upgrade that's been made. Khalif Raymond, no replacement for him. Didn't really expect there to be one. It's just going to be Isaac Tesla. That one is the one where I'm like, yeah, makes a ton of sense. Why would you go sign another receiver when you drafted one in the 3rd round last year that everyone was mad that he didn't see the field more? So Tesla for sure fills in for that spot. Taylor Decker doesn't even have a replacement yet. He hasn't even signed anywhere either, which is kind of funny, but no replacement at left tackle. David Montgomery's replacement is Isaiah Pacheco. It's not an upgrade. It's for sure a downgrade, but I don't think it's a bad thing. He's making a good contract. You got value for David Montgomery. You saved money. I think it's fine. And then Amik Robertson, You didn't bring in a replacement, but you brought back a guy in Rock Yassin who's just going to fill into that spot. It's still probably a downgrade. And so all of those things that Brad Holmes has done this offseason has been complacency. There is zero sense of urgency to improve this roster that missed the playoffs last year. So how do you balance that with also recognizing that Brad Holmes has done a ton of good for this Lions team? That's been the biggest issue for me this week, John, is just trying to figure out how do I feel personally about Brad Holmes, because I feel like most of the Lions fans are totally out on him.
Well, do you trust the slow play? Like, oh, he's just waiting, he's going to strike, and it's going to be worth it.
See,
like, it's already come and gone,
That's what
too.
you have to tell yourself, but then you look at the available guys, and it's just like,
yeah. Like, it's already come and gone.
what's the move going to be? Yeah, exactly.
Like you laid it out great in terms of like his resume. And again, I'm a Giant fan. I'd take him in a heartbeat. The way he drafts and just the going from literally the ground floor to building it to a team that was going to win away from a Super Bowl and a playoff contender for the next couple of years and the past couple of years, obviously. But yeah, like you said, an expectation changes, and right now they're not doing enough to improve on a team that fell short. And if the improvement strategy is next man up, promote within, it wasn't enough last year.
Right.
So obviously it didn't work. You can't go with something that didn't work. Not you could in terms of the free agents like Anzalone, want to replace him with Barnes, fine, right? But other players, other holes, other things that you have to fill, you got to use the free agency market. And I think it's coming because, again, you wouldn't have told Jared Goff to make less money and restructure the contract the way you did without those
Something
moves.
has to be done.
But these moves happen so quickly in the NFL because every team is desperate. And we talked about the mindset to have and how I brought up the fact that it's got to be a doomsday mindset, even though in actuality, yeah, you're in a good spot if you're the Lions as a roster build. But you can't just rest on your laurels because you're just going to miss out on free agents that you could have potentially got. I mean, look at, and not that they're the prime example, winning Super Bowls every year, but they're a playoff team. Ravens, Crosby doesn't work. Who's the next best up?
Was just going to say that, yeah.
Let's bring him
immediately, too. Like, immediately after that whole thing goes down, the very next morning, okay, we're bringing the best available free agent.
Yeah.
Taylor Decker leaves. We created all this money. Why is the best available tackle not been brought in?
Yep.
Like, the urgency just isn't there. And that is where the stubbornness of Brad Holmes comes into play.
Even the best available within your price range. If you can't give top dollar to the top guy, who's the top guy that you can give whatever the price range is for that position and do it, Again, we're in a society where it's like, okay, the attention span is short and people want things as quickly as possible, and I get all that. But the way the free agency market moves in the NFL is different than other sports. If we were talking Scott Harris and the Tigers, you're good. You don't have to sign guys till January, February in a typical offseason. Basketball moves a little differently. Hockey's a different beast. Football, like the news is breaking before that deadline comes.
Think about everything that happened after 12 p.m. on Monday. Like, it was just going crazy. I mean, Alex Anzalone was gone within seconds. Like, that's the part that it's different about in years past, because I'm not saying they need to go out here and sign all the top guys and waste their money, because that's not at all what I'm saying. I think that sometimes teams go out and spend a little bit too recklessly, and then it comes back to bite them. But even in those years past, we've seen Holmes make the sneaky ads, the signing of a Meek Robertson, the DJ Reader bring in. Like, he's not going to get these top guys, but he's bringing in names that are going to clearly help this team. And they just haven't. They brought in Cade Mays and Isaiah Pacheco on $1 million to be the new backup running back. Like, Cade Mays is the only starter that they've added, and they've lost like 5 or 6 of them. So it concerns me a little bit with running back your team with fill-in depth of a squad that missed the playoffs last year. It's absolutely concerning. 989-837-6125. I think that's it for my Brad Holmes rant on the day. Brad Holmes gets talked about a lot on this show, and he gets talked about a lot as far as GMs across the league go, but I think he's earned that, right? If he was really bad at his job, he would just be fired and we wouldn't be talking about him. If he was really good at his job, clearly the Lions would just be good and we wouldn't be talking negatively about him. So let us know what you think about how the Lions have handled this offseason. Do you think any bigger moves are coming? Because I'm just surprised that within 24 hours, over 24 hours now, since the restructure of Goff's contract, nothing has happened. I figured we would at least get one signing to happen before then, but it hasn't yet. 989-837-6125. You can drop it in the YouTube chat or Facebook as well. The 11 o'clock hour is always brought to you by Yiter Insurance. Life happens fast, and at Yiter Insurance Group, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way. Locally owned and trusted in Midland for decades, they treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business and life, Yiter has the right insurance coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people you can actually talk to. Yiter Insurance Group, they'll be there when you need them since 1940.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth.
Hey, there we go. It's all right, John. It's the first time you've done that all week, so you get a couple of those. Welcome back to the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on 100.9 The Myth, YouTube and Facebook. We've been talking Lions all day, and we've been talking Tigers, and I want to get back into it because all offseason, every time we've talked about the Tigers, it's been about Tarek Skubal, Diva. I called him the Detroit Diva. I think he clearly has become this like spotlight superstar that I didn't really expect, and I don't really like it that much. What I do like is watching that guy pitch to opponents, and he's really good at it, and I think the Tigers are going to be really good at it as well this season with their rotation. You've got Tarek Skubal, the back-to-back Cy Young, 2.21 ERA. Framber Valdez comes in from Houston, and I know we've already touched a ton on this, but I just think that he is absolutely part of the best two-pitcher punch in baseball this season with Skubal and Framber Valdez. Both lefties, too, which makes it pretty fun. Two-time All-Star Valdez is. He was pretty bad in the second half of the year for Houston, had one of the worst stretches of his career last year, but I'm not worried about that at all. I don't think the Tigers are either. And then I threw out a post on Facebook yesterday. You can check us out, 100.9 The Mid. Just search us there. Asking the people what they thought about who's going to be the Tigers' number 3 next year, because I think there is options. Jack Flaherty probably just for sure isn't. But also, by the time the playoffs rolled around, Flaherty was the Tigers' second-best pitcher in the playoffs, starting-wise, and not a lot of people remember that just because, one, everyone was injured once again. It was Mize, Flaherty, and Skubal, and that's it. Flaherty was good at the end of the year. He picked it back up right at the end of the season, and I don't know. I think there's a chance that he rolls that over into 2026. It wasn't a great year for him last year. Had a 4.64 ERA, but I think he was better than Mize come the end of the season last year. And then, of course, Justin Verlander has now just been added into the mix, which is exciting. I haven't really thought about the fear of what if he's bad? What if he actually is in his mid-40s at this point and just isn't that good anymore? That would be pretty unfortunate and honestly just make me sad as a nostalgic Tigers fan. But I don't want to think about that right now because that's not fun to do. I'm interested, though, what you think. Who should be the number 3 starter this year between Verlander, Mize, and Flaherty? John, what do you think?
I, on paper, would say Flaherty. I am intrigued, too, for Flaherty to just, I wouldn't say under the tutelage of Verlander, but learning from JV in terms of the fact that, hey, you're an older arm who I wouldn't maybe use the word reinvent, but Verlander's not pumping the heat that he did 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. So because obviously Flaherty has to make some adjustments from what happened last year. So talking with him in terms of just kind of how to structure, maybe not the back 9 of your career, but Flaherty's closer than that than the front 9. So that intrigues me, and I would think it's him. I don't think it'll be Flaherty or Verlander by any Verlander's going to be your 5 starter. There'll be a lot of hype, but you got to remember the age and this and that, and you kind of want to save him. I'm good with Verlander even getting a skipped start in May or June to keep him fresh for the fall, because that's when he just elevates his game to an out of this world level. And you could say, all right, what use is him then during the regular season, or why is it less use? That's how you should structure things, just based on how pitchers of his era kind of do things.
Right.
You have your younger arms, and the Tigers have the riches of younger arms prospects to have, all right, the bullpen game here and there, and you save JV, similar to what the Blue Jays do with Max Scherzer. Now, Scherzer was injured for a part of last year, so hopefully that doesn't happen with Verlander, but Scherzer then was giving World Series innings out of necessity because that's what you're going to need over those 7 games, and delivered well because he wasn't that fatigued in the regular season. So you have to kind of treat Verlander with kid gloves. So in terms of who you want to take the reins on that 3rd starter role, it's Flaherty. And that's who I would say has probably the best shot. I hope Mize repeats too, but I think that's honestly less likely than Flaherty.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that was a flash in the pan. I just
For Mize or for Flaherty? Mize being good or Flaherty being bad?
Mize being good. Mize being great.
Yeah.
He's going to be a good pitcher. I just don't know if it's going to be all-star level.
Right.
Casey. I just don't. I'm sorry.
I think it's fair because
there's just so many all-star quality guys in the American League too. To ask for that again, I think would be that's tough.
I think it's fair too because when we have Chris Castellani on the show a lot to talk about Tigers, when we bring up Casey Mize, he just continuously talks about it, and it gets forgotten that Casey Mize has just never really pitched a full season of Major League Baseball, and so there's a reason why after the All-Star break last year, when he had a really good start to the season after pitching in 15 to 20 starts, it kind of falls apart towards the end because he just has never been a part of a real full-bore season where it's been all good. And we still really haven't seen that. I still think it was an overall good season for Casey Mize nonetheless, but as John said, didn't end the year strong by any means. And so, yeah, a lot of people from Facebook are saying either Mize or Flaherty. I'm actually surprised at the little amount of Verlander talk. A lot of it is just saying, I wish Verlander would be the number 2 starter so we can watch him pitch at home, stuff like that to start the season, which I understand that. But I do think that, yes, I think Casey Mize or Flaherty is actually the real number 3 option because it helps put less. I know it doesn't technically matter at the end of the day, like how the order of it all goes, because last year Casey Mize was the number 5 for the longest time, and then at the All-Star break they switched it so that he could be the number 2. But I do think that at least as far as the rotation goes to start off the season, it puts a little bit less pressure on Justin Verlander if he's towards the bottom, if he's not number 2 or number 3. It doesn't really matter with the 2 lefties at the top of the rotation. I've seen people say that, like they should squeeze Mize to be 2 so that it goes lefty, righty, lefty. I mean, I guess I understand that, but your 2 best guys are your 2 best guys at the end of the day. And I don't think there's any debate who the 2 best pitchers on this team are, Tarek Skubal and Framber Valdez. And then there's a couple other guys like Drew Anderson, who's had a really good spring so far. I think he absolutely is going to lock up that early 6-starter, doubleheader pitcher, long inning guy role that Kiter Montero was in, Troy Melton was in at the end of the year. Montero, of course, will battle for it, but Drew Anderson, they signed him to a contract. He's a little bit of a veteran pitcher, and he's been pitching good in spring. So I think that there's a world where maybe he could work his way in. But the best part about this Tigers rotation is that Jackson Jobe just is the looming question mark. They don't have any pressure to bring him back this season. He looked pretty good in his first year. I don't think he's going to return this season because they don't necessarily need him to based off of all this depth I'm talking about at their starting rotation. But it's a luxury to bring him back, especially when you just compare this Tigers rotation to the rest of everybody's rotation in baseball, specifically the American League. I think the Tigers have the best that there is. 989-837-6125. We got a couple things coming up on the show. We're going to do the traditions to close the show, not to close the show today. I know, right? We're really switching things up here with no Ben in the building. Lock of the day, game of the day, Guessing Collins Open is next because we are going to catch up virtually with the Freeland Falcons. They are playing in the Breslin Center tomorrow night. Very cool stuff. John is going to be calling the game, so John's going to catch up with them to close the show. So we're going to do the traditions to close the show next here on 100.9 The Mid.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show, everyone. Want to give a quick shout-out to everyone in the YouTube chat who's saying they're enjoying me and John filling in this week. We appreciate it. We also miss Ben, though. He'll be back next week. We're still doing things the same way we do it, no matter who's here, though, with our 3 traditions to close every show, even though it's 11:30 right now, so I guess we're not doing it the same way. Nonetheless, it's time for the lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
You know, I thought I really had a chance to go, perfect, and that was kind of my main goal when Ben was going to be gone this week. My number one goal was not to do a good show, not to have a strong open, not to make good reels. It was to go 4-0 in lock of the day. That was, my number one goal, and I've already failed. I did not hit my lock of the day yesterday.
That guy's the loser.
Yeah, I'm the loser, yes. And actually, the bigger losers are the Indiana Hoosiers and Darren DeVries, who came in to Indiana, built this $10 million roster, and all they needed to do was beat Northwestern yesterday by 5 points, and they lost by 12.
Wow!
Wow, indeed. It was terrible. What a bad loss. That was my lock of the day. I'm getting into the Big Ten stuff, and yeah, it did not hit. So I'm 1-1 this week. I'm trying to get back above 500. We've got a lot of different college basketball to choose from, so that's where I'm going. I know Ben usually likes to go the NBA route, but when it's conference tournament time, I'm all over these. There's games going on right now. Miami's only up 1 against UMass, so I just did that whole rant. What if they just lose in the first round? If they lose in the first round, then maybe there is a real case for them not to make it. No, I'm just kidding. They should be in no matter what. But I'm going to the Big 12 tournament. That's where I'm going to take things. Yesterday, Iowa State absolutely demolishes in round 1 against Arizona State. Basically got Bobby Hurley fired from Arizona State. And so they're back in action today against Texas Tech. Texas Tech is without JT Toppin, who's their best player. He's out for the year. They've been pretty up and down. They beat Iowa State at the end of the season. So I think Iowa State today gets their lick back in the Big 12 tournament. I have them minus 5.5 today against the Red Raiders over there in the Big 12 tournament. That's at 12:30, so that starts in an hour. That's the best part about this time, man. As soon as the show's over, I'm flicking on the TV. St. John's is playing right now, right? Or tomorrow?
They're playing at noon.
At noon, yeah. So
Against Providence.
We're going to watch that. I'm going to definitely get Miami here on the TV at some point. I'm excited to watch all of that throughout the rest of the day today. But, yeah, that's my lock of the day. Iowa State minus 5.5. What do you think, John?
There you go. And one note, by the way, too, I want to watch my team, but my coworkers here are like, no, you got to do more work for us, so it's ridiculous. But
my coworker,
yeah,
he
your
says.
coworkers.
Right, who
well,
could that
well,
be?
unnamed.
Right,
but
yes.
yeah, I got
the only other coworker that's here. Yes,
I got to do some stuff. But I'll tell you, I have a buddy who's actually covering this tournament right now at the Big 12 tournament. So I'll throw the pick by him and see what he says. But
okay,
I'm gonna tell you.
Hopefully he's tailing as well, because
I'll see if he agrees.
That's the lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Man, Miami's losing right now. Did I look like a fool doing this whole Miami rant just for them to lose in round 1 in the MAC tournament?
That would be hilarious.
And I was just going to say, I want to throw this up on the TV. It's on ESPN+. This is a ranked team, man. Put this on the CBS Sports Network at least. Put it on something.
We need Pat McAfee. Listen, you want
Pat McAfee.
You want to talk about media rights? You had what? Your boy Davey Bacon calling the women's tournament yesterday, and
my boy.
I was about to say, according to some, I don't think the coverage was that great, and yeah, they're going to be on the plus.
Yeah, I'll stay silent there. Okay, let's move on to today's game of the day.
Game of the day.
We've got an early game of the day today, and this is important for Michigan fans. I know Michigan's not playing or Michigan State's not playing. No, I'm not picking the Pistons versus the 76ers tonight because nobody's playing on the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey is out. Joel Embiid is out. Yeah, that's going to be a blowout, hopefully. Pistons should blow them out. They're 15-point favorites at home. I'm going to the Big Ten tournament. The game of the day starts in 25 minutes. So we're starting things early on the game of the day today. It's not the game of the night. It is the game of the day. Iowa versus Ohio State, man, I think this is such a fun matchup. There's a reason this is only a 1.5-point spread. I know no one likes Ohio State, but, man, they have been fun to watch over the last 2 weeks. They are outside of Wisconsin, and I'm not counting Michigan just because, of course, Michigan is hot. Ohio State is one of the 3 hottest teams in the Big Ten right now. They are playing really well to end the season, and we all know how Iowa played against Michigan. So I think that this is going to be a really fun matchup, and of course, the winner plays Michigan. And this is going to be a good win. For whoever wins this game, this is going to be like a for sure. Both of these teams should be in the tournament, so that adds a little bit of spice to this as well. I don't know who's going to win. Like, I don't even want to make a prediction on this, but this is the game at noon where, like, oh, John wants to watch St. John's. That's cool and everything. I'm going to be sneaky in the corner watching Iowa versus Ohio State because this is a really fun game. And that's my game of the day.
Well, you'll have yours on a TV. I have to go to Peacock for mine, so you'll have the big TV. I'll be in the corner.
What,
with
your
the computer.
TV? Your TV doesn't get Peacock on it?
My TV. I'm gonna be here. We just went over this. So are you. We're gonna be stuck in this studio.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
All right, that's the game of the day.
Oh, okay.
Game of the day.
All right. Yep.
Game of the day.
Needed to.
Yep. Also, by the way, no on the YouTube chat. We need an against all odds pick added to the show, like when Kyle picked the Jags on Thursday picks. You know what, Noah? I know exactly what you're talking about because I called in via Zoom to these dudes. John was filling in for me. I was on the road with football, and I called in via Zoom, picked the Jags, and these dudes torched me for it once I got off of the Zoom call. They went at me. What's he doing picking the Jags? And
That
it
guy's a
hit.
loser.
And it hit, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Okay, we have one more tradition to close every show. It's guessing Colin's Open. What did Colin lead with yesterday, John?
The Raiders. Was it the Raiders?
No, that was the day before.
Then I wasn't
No.
listening.
It was Bam Adebayo.
Bam,
scoring
and I
83
got it
points.
right. I got it right.
You did get it right. I went with the Max Crosby stuff, and that was kind of foolish now that I look back at it. Like, dude scored 83 points in a game. Like, that absolutely has to be the lead. And I went first yesterday, too, so John got it right off of going second.
You know it.
We're not doing the score. Me and Ben's score is not going to be affected this week, so don't worry about it. We'll have the same score as we had last week going into next week.
People do worry about it, so I'm glad you gave.
People
them
do
that,
worry about it. I worry about it because I've been losing literally the whole time. So, okay, John, what is your pick for guessing Colin's Open?
Oh, man. Wow. Could go Max
Wow.
Crosby. Yeah, I just.
Wow.
Again, this is a day where a lot's happening, but what is he gonna? He's not gonna talk about action. He's not gonna talk
a
about
lot's
Goff.
happening,
He's
but
not gonna
not
talk
a
about Brad.
lot,
He's
yeah.
not gonna talk about Brad Holmes. Like our show did. There might be an angle with the Raiders that he somehow explores because he is just they're being so well run. They're doing all the right things, yada yada yada. So maybe something with the pushback of everyone thinks that the Raiders lost the DLO, not getting rid of Crosby, whatever. It's like, no, they're going to keep Crosby and they're going to build, and this is a blessing in disguise. Something along those lines. Honestly, good day for a J-Mac show if I'm Colin. Maybe take a 4-day weekend this Thursday and Friday, right? Like, let J-Mac talk some college hoops. Like, he never even used to do this week on TV because the Big East tournament used to be FS1 during the early afternoon. But as I've established, I got to watch
Right,
on
now it's on
Peacock
Peacock,
now,
yes.
and FS1 tonight. So, in terms of the Big East.
Yeah, good day for a Rachel Nichols show.
Yeah, usually I think he would take these days off, so maybe it's J-Mac, but I'll say the Raiders and just the, general conversation about them.
That's what I would have went with too.
There
I
you go.
honestly
Okay.
I would have picked that.
Sorry about that,
I
then.
think I think it's a good pick because I think the Crosby stuff it plays more today because he made the statement like I'm ready to be back with the Raiders. It was meant to be kind of thing. Like I think that's what it is. I will go with Vikings, and I'm just going to go general Vikings because I don't know if he's going to take the Kyler route. I know Kyler hasn't signed there, but it was like the main rumor that went around yesterday. Or if he's going to take the J.J. McCarthy route because nobody loves talking about J.J. McCarthy even more than me and Ben than Colin Cowherd, which is pretty hilarious. So I'll go with Vikings route here for my pick for guessing Colin's Open.
New man on the Minnesota Vikings, potentially.
Potentially that there is. 989-837-6125. Hey, we just did the traditions to close every show, and the show's not over. What the hell? Yeah, that's right. We're about to go talk to the Freeland boys basketball. What, we got 3 guys coming on, John?
Yeah, we got Tristan Comer, Wilson Huckabee, and then Tucker Heilman. How about that?
Nice. So if you're interested in the local high school basketball scene here, stick around. We're going to have him through Zoom, so you won't be able to see him. You'll still be able to hear him, though, of course, through radio, and you'll just get to see John talking to these guys because they're playing at the Breslin Center tomorrow in the semifinals, a chance to go for a state title. Very cool here in the Great Lakes Bay region. That's coming up to close the show here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Kyle Sandel and John Vicari filling in for Ben Bosscher this week. before we do hit our break, I do got to tell you about the Forward Corporation. We talk all the time about having home field advantage, no home court advantage for Freeland tomorrow night because they'll be at the Breslin Center. But if your home or business uses the propane, the company with that advantage is Forward Energy. Since 1925, they've been serving our local community with propane and fuel solutions for homes and businesses. Local people, reliable service. Forward Energy, part of the home team.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Hi, this is Jim Mahoney with Link Technologies.
Built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mid. John Vicari and Kyle Sandel this week. And we knew when we were filling in, you know what, we gotta highlight some of the high school action. And these guys this year and even last year, a great squad here locally in the Great Lakes Bay region. I'm, of course, talking about the Freeland Falcons, the Breslin-bound Freeland Falcons, and we're lucky enough to be joined by a couple of them here. And it looks like the third and final joining us here just on time as we have from Freeland, Wilson Huckabee, Tristan Comer, and Tucker Heilman. Boys, how we doing?
Good. Good.
Good to see all of you. In terms of, let's start here. I know there was an expectation kind of set on you guys, and I'm sure you set it on yourselves to start the season. Like, you wanted to go to the Breslin, right? Lost to Kingsford in the state quarterfinal a year ago. But what was that feeling a couple of nights ago when you clinched and you knew, hey, I'm going to Michigan State on Friday?
I think it was pretty amazing. We just had a great time. We've been working together all season towards the goal, and finally achieving it and getting to continue is just a really good feeling.
I thought the feeling of finally getting to our spot that we wanted to be in, prepare for this whole season, especially last year, only losing by a couple points and sitting in that locker room. I think that we didn't want that same feeling again. And I think that motivated us to get past that game and further on with our goals, and playing the Breslin is part of it, but we'll see what else we can do.
Yeah, I think seeing all that hard work we put in after that loss last year and seeing all that kind of come to fruition this year, it's a very special feeling for us.
Yeah, and what definitely took a step up for you guys, and maybe was the case last year, but to a further extent this year, you guys kind of play without ego, right? Like in the last game for you, and it was kind of surprising looking at the scoring. It was like, okay, Wilson, you didn't have a point in the first half, and then exploded for 12 in the third quarter. But if you don't get yours right away, it really doesn't matter. You guys are putting win above all else. And I'll point this to you, Wilson. Where does that kind of mindset come from? Because I mean, you're distributing and everything, but I was like, wow, no points for Huckabee, and then came through in that third and fourth quarter. But where does that kind of playing without ego, playing as a collective, kind of started? I know you're all seniors, all friends, and all have been playing for a long time, but where does that kind of mindset come from?
Yeah, like you said, it's more of us just being around. We've been around each other for such a long time, and understanding that not one of us does not need to control the game. It's a team effort, and playing with each other since second, third grade, we understand that one night I could be off, but we got Tristan and Tucker, and we got 5 other guys that can score. And I think having a team so deep and so connected, and realizing the importance of team-oriented basketball is a major factor for us, and I think that showed on Tuesday.
Yeah, Wilson, for those who may not know, going to SVSU. His brother's there currently. He's going to be with the Cardinals and playing in the region next year. Now Tristan Comer, who's going to play football at Michigan State next year, join that Pat Fitzgerald class, the inaugural one for him. Tristan, I want to direct this question to you. You guys are all seniors. It's a rarity where it's literally, folks, all 13 or 14 on the roster are seniors. For you, though, kind of, and I've noticed in the last couple of games, a leadership type role where you'll be, after a foul in the huddles, kind of talking to your teammates, directing things. Where does that come from? Like, how do you guys, in terms of the leadership, kind of assign that? Because you definitely take it upon yourself to try and be a leader.
A lot of that just comes from practice and Coach Fattel putting me in situations where I kind of have to direct that. But it also comes from the guys on the floor and the guys on the bench who trust in me to make those decisions and call me out whenever I'm wrong, and just being behind me when we're trying to correct each other.
For Tucker now, a unique thing about this year's roster compared to last year's, you guys got an addition in Cooper Wagner, who's been big, and you have kind of been splitting the role with him in terms of bringing up the ball. How did that kind of role change come for you? It might be better for you now, honestly, because you'll tuck away in the corners. They're not giving you any mind defensively, and then you get it in the corner, and it feels like an automatic 3 every time. So how has that kind of role transfer been for you this year?
Yeah, it's been phenomenal adding him to the roster. He brings a lot of valuable stuff to our team, like bringing the ball up and distributing the ball and even scoring. So, yeah, especially during this postseason, it's been really nice to have him kind of help with those other duties and take some of that burden off some of our shoulders too.
A note for Tristan before we get into questions for all of you. Committed to play football at Michigan State. Was there ever a conversation over the last 2 years with recruiting to maybe put basketball on the shelf for a bit?
Yeah, this summer I was debating whether or not I'd go early for football, and Coach Fattel came to my house and he sat down and we had a conversation that was a few hours long, and he just kind of really brought it forward how much he loves me, how much the team loves me, how much the community loves me. And that and football logistics just made it a very easy decision for me to stay and play.
That's awesome. I'll start here with a collective question about Coach Vitello because you bring him up. That's a really cool story. He told me over the phone, because I asked him about the suits, that it's kind of become a community thing. Do you guys enjoy when he frame mugs other coaches in the MHSAA, or you think it's a bit cheesy?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Vitello's thing has kind of always been he wants us to look professional and not try to do anything to stand out too much and just kind of let our play speak for itself. He kind of says that whenever, like, if he's not wearing bright pink shoes, we shouldn't be wearing bright pink shoes because he's not trying to draw attention to himself. He's trying to draw it towards the team.
All right, absolutely. In terms of the community, you touched on that as well. If you guys could just speak to the Freelands community, because, we'll do games around the region. We were at Alma last night for the Midland girls, who had a terrific run that unfortunately for them ended in the regional final. But we've done a lot of postseason basketball. And, you say, oh, the community comes out to the game. It really does feel that you've had home court advantage at these neutral sites based on the crowd that's come out in Freeland. And it does feel like the whole community, the student section's always packed out and synchronized chants. What does it mean to have the community behind you guys as well?
Yeah, I think having the community behind us is a major factor in our success, because when we look into the crowd and we see all green and white, I mean, that just wants us to be our best and play our best for them. And especially when they get loud and getting those green and white chants, I think that's some of the best parts of playing basketball at Freeland. And then having all those students there driving 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. I mean, they've been everything. They went to Gaylord last year. So, I mean, they're around us for a long time. And I think just having that gives us extra momentum going into games.
Yeah, it's incredible, honestly. They bring a special, energy to the building that we can feel when we're on the court, I think that's just a testament to our school principal, superintendent, and our parents for just reaching out to the community and having our backs.
That's awesome. In terms of a question for each of you, and I know this might change because you're looking to make some great memories this weekend at the Breslin Center, but a favorite memory for you guys on the floor during your time at Freeland, and then maybe something you want to highlight off the court. We can start, Wilson.
One of my favorite memories off the floor was definitely during our Grand Valley trip in the summers. All those trips in the summers are some of my favorite memories with the team. But one in particular was one of our players put a little bit of we had a little pranks going on, and they put a little frozen ice, like a pan of ice, it was water. We put it in the freezer, and then we came back and he put it in the player's bed. And he wasn't able to sleep on it. And there was just all these jokes that go around with the team. I mean, it was nothing too harmful, but it's just fun stuff that's funny like that will always stick with me. And then probably the moment that stuck with me the most on the court was probably our loss actually against Saginaw High, because me and Tristan were both out, and just the ability for our other teammates to go out there and see what kind of pressure it is and how that works. And to get to those moments that we need. And then even when we were on the bench, seeing us that we gotta do our jobs, even though we can't play the game, to be able to get our team ready and prepared, and trying to will them win that game. And I think that was, even though we lost, I think that would always stick with me.
Yeah, an off the court memory would probably be one of our Cedar Point trips. We've had a couple over the years. We stayed in some very unique spots, like the Maples Motel. It's just fun packing, 15 guys, sleeping together, stuff like that. But on the court, I would say our loss in the quarterfinal as well, kind of piggyback off Wilson, loss stuck out to me most, just seeing that we can get there and what it would take for us to take that to another level.
For me, off the court, it would probably just be eating at Culver's after the game. I mean, just getting to hang out with these guys is a blessing in itself. But on the court, it would probably be Jacob Kowalski's game winner against Frankenmuth freshman year. I mean, the whole student section piled on him. I was under there with him, and it was just an amazing time.
Awesome to hear from all three of you. And hopefully, Tristan, since you're going to Michigan State, too, I hope there's a Culver's post game for you at the Breslin Center this weekend. We're going to go to Colin Cowherd and close the show. But, boys, I appreciate you joining us. Next time we're going to get you in studio. If you take it home, we're going to have you in studio for an interview. That was the hope today. But my boy Fattel was too worried about his suit, and I think just crossed wires there in terms of the communication. But, again, appreciate you guys coming on, and I guess get back to class, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we're about to close things up here on the Ben Bosscher Show. This has been a fun 4 days for myself and Kyle, kind of filling in. I guess 3. Kyle's been on the show for the 4 days. I missed Monday. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We're also going to have that Freeland Falcons boys game. They're going to play Summit Academy North, school from Romulus, tomorrow. So we're going to have that coverage. I think we're going to start the coverage at 5, and you're going to hear that interview back, and we'll have an extended pregame for you there. But we'll sign off here. Appreciate you listening to us. This has been the Ben Bosscher Show with John Vicari and Kyle Sandel here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt. Tired of floors that snore? Walls that